days away now. We
48 hours.
are like 48 hours, right, away from football
48
now,
hours. Come on, talk it up.
which is absolutely mental. Fun update for anybody who drafted Christian McCaffrey. He is back practicing, and there is no indication that he won't play. Every indication is that he will play. So big shout out to all of those CMC people. I know some people were worried. They stopped drafting him. We constantly said, hey, he played through this injury in the playoffs last year. Don't freak out about it. He's going to be all right. Also, Jahmyr Gibbs is practicing fully. He says he's going to play week 1. Trent Williams signs an extension for the 49ers. This is great news for Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy,
Big boy Trent.
every weapon out there. Mark Andrews is not listed on the injury report for week 1, so he's good to go. So, and then no update on the Jamar Chase news. We will have to continue to monitor that.
He's getting closer.
It is looking more and more like a concern, but I am still strong in my belief that they're going to figure it out. I'll say this. Yesterday, I was 90% sure that Chase is going to play week 1. Today, I'm 80% sure. So the percentages are going down, all right? But I still think Chase is going to be out there. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. Do us a favor, hit that like button as the stream starts. Appreciate y'all for the love, for the support. We are on the road to 25K now, a quarter of 100K, which is mental. You can see that at the top of your screen. Here's how the stream is going to work, okay? We're going to answer questions from the top of the stream to the bottom of the stream, all right, in order. The only time we'll answer a question out of order is if there's a super chat, all right? Every single super chat does take priority. A super chat gets you put up straight up to the front of the queue. Why? Because those people are donating, they're supporting the show, and getting their questions answered. So keep that in mind. Super chats get answered straight away. Let's start from the top here with William Miller. It looks like he is talking about his team here. ESPN Team, 12 Team.
That's probably we should start saying that as well, by the way.
Yeah, look, this is something that we should say as well. Guys, as far as like team reviews on the stream, just being 100% transparent, if we were to review everyone's team and really dig deep and give you the review that you deserve, that's all we would do on any of these streams, and we wouldn't get to many people, all right? Now, what we do offer is a team review service over on the Flock Fantasy website. So if you want us to seriously sit down and review the team and give you some really good advice moving forward, I'm going to paste that link in the chat for you to get your team reviewed. I know we already have one in the queue, so we'll look at that today as well. But just being transparent, if you put a team review and you're like, what do you think of the team? We'll probably be like, looks good, man. Looks good. All right. We can't break it down while there are so many questions in the chat. But William, looks good, man. I will say I love that you have high upside running backs on your bench. Really well done. Zan says, should I trade Caleb Williams in either the Niners defense or Ravens defense for Anthony Richardson? I couldn't care less about what defense I have on my roster. So if you can use it to upgrade at quarterback, absolutely.
I would. Yeah. 100%.
And what if I add in Ayuk to that trade and receive Devontae Adams? I'm totally fine with that same answer. Singletary or Zamir White, Badaki? This week, I am going Zamir White versus the Chargers. How about you?
Yeah, Zamir White as well for me.
Raiders defense versus Chargers versus or Bengals and Pats. Bengals would be my number one choice if I could make that decision.
Agreed.
Okay. It's Elite says, have Brown, Corum, Warren, Odunze, Reed, Neighbors to trade, need to upgrade tight end, have Conklin right now. Suggestions. I would say if you can package, I would look at packaging a Warren and Conklin if someone needs a running back, a Brown and Conklin if someone needs a running back. Outside of that, I would hold those other names.
Yeah. I'm personally okay. I would just add Warren in there. I think I've been saying it all week. I want to stay away from this Steelers backfield. So off the Warren and Conklin and see who you can go out and get there as well. Hopefully that helps.
I would say Jake Ferguson's a good trade target for this particular person. So if you can send, let's say, Jalen Warren and Njoku, and Conklin, and you get back a lower tiered running back and Jake Ferguson, that's probably your ideal route. Otherwise, I just don't think you can get a Pitts in that move. Jake says, who to pick up? Washington?
Who to pick up
on Washington? Okay, so here's how I'm reading it, guys. If you need a tight end and you didn't hit one big in a draft, you can stash Ben Sinnott, but you need to be patient. If you want to stash a wide receiver, for me, it's De'Ami Brown. I think he's the wide receiver 2 at the moment, trying to read that room.
Agreed. Completely agree. A-Train. We got the A-Train here.
Holy shit.
This is phenomenal. I hope you're doing well.
I mean,
and
hey, I just want to say thanks for choosing the right side. You know?
He's doing it for the people. Come on, baby. Should I start Zach Moss or Jalen Warren at the flex half PPR? For me, this would be Zach Moss.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I'm not going to lie to you. I can definitely see why that's a difficult question. I do have Zach Moss ranked higher than Warren. And as of now, the reports are that Moss is the running back 1. We'll see. That could change in season. But right now, it looks like Moss will start as RB1. We did get a super chat from Prez here. So remember, guys, Prez
Come on, baby.
Sorry, super chats will skip the queue. Prez, thanks for the donation. He says half PPR pick
Huge
2
love.
for flex. Godwin, Ridley, Neighbors. We're definitely going Neighbors, and then between Ridley and Godwin, that's where I think you and I might disagree.
We'll
I assume you're Ridley.
Yeah, I'm Ridley. Ridley and Neighbors for me going into this week.
So I have Godwin and Ridley ranked pretty much back to back. I have Godwin 1 spot higher. Washington secondary is booty cheeks. I can't say this enough right now on the stream, guys. I can't say that enough this entire week. Washington secondary is awful. Absolutely awful. I think Godwin bounces back. So if the weather is good, I would go Godwin. If the weather in Tampa does get bad and it's actually raining, then I would be comfortable to go ahead and tell you to start Ridley. 2 great options. It'll all come down to weather.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps. I'm not a big Chris Godwin guy coming into this year. I want to be proven wrong if he's going back into the slot. Maybe I'm not up to speed. But for me, it's Calvin Ridley and Malik Neighbors. Thank you so much for the super chat. Next is Miles with the super chat. Thank you so much. He says start Swift or Javonte this week. He says, I feel like Swift is very underrated this year. Also a problem to have Tyreek, Waddle, and Devon on the same squad.
So let's start with Swift or Javonte.
Yeah.
Who are you going? I have them back to back in my rankings right now.
For me, it would be. Let me just triple check. This would be Javonte Williams. Seattle last year gave up 3rd most points to the running back position.
Yeah,
I think they want to establish the run on the ground. Personally,
I'm more afraid about the. So, like, I agree, but here's why I slightly lean Swift. Like, I love the matchup for Javonte. I'm totally with you, but the reason I slightly lean Swift and he's 1 spot higher in my rankings is just simply because I feel like I know more about the rotation in Chicago than I know in Denver. I mean, could Audric Estime be involved? Could they have 3 running backs there? I don't know. I guess you can make the same case for Chicago too, but I do slightly lean DeAndre Swift there, but it's, like I said, back to back. And then as far as, like, we actually answered a similar question on yesterday's stream. Is it a problem to have 3 players from the same team? Yes, unless they're in the best offense in the NFL or one of the best offenses in the NFL. The Dolphins last year was the most valuable offense for fantasy football. They had 3 players, top 3. They had the top 3 players in fantasy points per snap. So if you're going to have a lot of players from one team, it better be the Miami Dolphins. Like, if you said I had 3 Steelers, I had Warren, Najee, and Pickens. No. Not great. Not good at all. But no, I don't think you have to overthink it in the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah, I would say, like, you don't have to overthink it, but I am somebody, like, I just think that's just way too many. Well, I just think there's way too many people. I think if you have one or the other, like, if you have Tyreek and Waddle, cool. If you have Tyreek and Devon, cool. But I think you have all of them. I think I just want to spread it out a little bit, because if
you want to spread your seed.
You want to spread your seed, because if, let's just say, the Miami Dolphins get shut down that week and no one is producing, that's a quarter of your team right there that didn't do anything for you. So I'm not saying it's bad to have this. I'm just saying I just want to, once again, spread my seed. I want to be a little bit more spread out in the fantasy world when it comes down to players that are roster. So can you go out and get a Brandon Ayuk? Can you go out and get a Kyron Williams or Derrick Henry or whatever the case may be? That's what I'll be trying to do. But hopefully that helps, Miles. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Yep, those super chats will get prioritized. They'll get pushed to the top of the queue if you want your question answered straight away. Otherwise, we're going in order from top to bottom. And the next question is from Danny. I'm a championship belt league winner. Got a belt. My first 6 picks were St. Brown. Love it, bro. You're doing well, Danny. You're killing it. Dak or Jordan Love? That was just a little flex from Danny. That was just a little. He just wanted to flex on the screen. I love it.
Want to flex a little bit.
Dak or Jordan Love? I'm going Jordan Love this week. I prefer
Agreed.
his matchup versus the Eagles. It's funny. I just released our wide receiver start sit video, Badaki, and there's an Eagles fan yelling at me in the comment section. It's always Philly fans.
You're kidding me.
It's always Philly fans. Shout out
to the Philly fans.
I'm sure there's good Philly fans out there, but for the most part, they're just really frustrating to deal with. And apparently, because they drafted a rookie cornerback, they're going to be shut down corners now in Philly. So, in case you guys didn't know, but yeah, no, I like the matchup for Jordan Love a little bit better than Dak Prescott.
Mr. Green, yeah, 10-man super flex PPR. I have St. Brown on my wide receiver 1. I need a wide receiver 2 and a flex. So you need 2 options out of what you're about to say right here. Drake London, DJ Moore, Christian Watson. One's for sure Drake London.
Yeah.
And I think there could be an argument between DJ Moore and Christian Watson, but for me it's DJ Moore.
Yeah, this is very easily London and Moore. Trent says Cup or Marv. Yeah, I don't know how you're not starting both of those names. What kind of league are we in, Trent? All right, long-time supporter of the show, Trent. What are we doing, Trent? I don't know how you say either of these names, but I would slightly lean Marv.
Yeah, I would lean Marvin Harrison as well. We did get a super chat here from him. He says, who's a better stash, Trey Benson or Tyrone Tracy? Trey Benson, no doubt about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Trey Benson has a higher draft capital. He's a better prospect. And if Connor goes down, I think he'll be the guy in Arizona. It's a better offense as well. If you think about it, right? The reason you stash these guys is because if the guy ahead of them goes down, what could they do? Well, outcome for Benson's higher and a better offense than Tracy in the Giants offense. We did get another super chat from 44 MSU. Appreciate you, man. Again, these super chats are going to skip the queue for you guys. He says, should I send Allen, Monty for Richardson, McCaffrey? He wanted Allen bad at draft. I have Jacobs. Okay. Allen and Montgomery for Richardson and McCaffrey. Yes, I would take the Richardson McCaffrey side pretty easily.
Jacobs, St. Brown, Martin Harrison, McBride. Yeah. It's a tremendous upgrade at the running back position, and hopefully the upside with Richardson is as close as the likes of Josh Allen, right? So you play that route there, so hopefully that helps.
By the way, we don't expect him to be Josh Allen, but he certainly has that ceiling. This is what you're saying.
100%. 100%. It has the ceiling, yeah. No doubt about it. Thank you so much for the super chat. If you guys want to skip the queue, drop a super chat. But back to the top. Shane, I'm somewhat high on Zach Moss since he was named RB1 and Chase is doing punt returns. I was thinking of starting Zach Moss over Brian Robinson.
No, but hold on, brother. What you haven't considered, Shane, is that returning punts is good now for your running backs. All of Twitter changed their mind in the last 2 weeks, remember? No, it's actually good. He can touch the ball more. It's actually good now. No, I'm totally kidding, guys. All right, I don't have a horse in the race there. Don't really care. But yeah, I think Zach Moss is a fine option. He's got the better matchup than Brian Robinson. Do you have a strong opinion either way on that one?
When it comes down to the long-term play, I definitely want Brian Robinson over Zach Moss because I do see Chase Brown going into this workload. But yes, in week 1, Zach Moss is favored in this matchup because you expect them to be up early with the Patriots. And this you see a lot of he should see a lot of tokes on the ground there for Zach Moss. So I am okay with that.
I would lean Zach Moss as well. I'm with you there. Next question is from Kyle. Says choose 2, Devonta Smith, Rice, or Higgins. This for me is Rice and Smith.
Yeah. Rice and Smith for me as well.
But all great options.
Yeah, Sir Yeti, how you doing, brother? Says I was offered Terry and Walker for Etienne and Worthy. Terry's my wide receiver 4 with Neighbors on the bench, and Walker's my RB2 behind Jacobs, so I accepted. Was offered Terry and Walker for Etienne and Worthy. To
me, the downgrade, and this is not anti-Walker. I think he has great and exciting ceiling this year even. But to me, the downgrade from Etienne to Walker is too significant to take the supposed upgrade to Terry. So I would keep the Etienne side personally.
Yeah, I want Etienne and Worthy. And if you think about it, when you're doing your drafts, depending on how your drafts went, Worthy was going a half a round later than Terry, which not that big of a deal. Where Etienne was going in the second round, Walker was going around the 4th, sometimes fell to the 5th round. depending on your league. He fell to the 5th round of the Flock League, or 5th or 6th round. It was kind of ridiculous, actually. So keep that in mind there. Hopefully that helps. T-Bag, how many interceptions is Daniel Jones going to throw week 1? Make a guess. 1.
Over under
I'll say
3.
1. I'll say 1.
Honestly, here's the thing with Daniel Jones. I don't care if he throws interceptions. Keep throwing the ball. I want Daniel Jones to be Jameis Winston a la 2000 and what was that? 19? I can't remember. Where he was 30,
2019.
30 for 30.
My guy was like QB2 or QB3 that year, though. It don't matter.
Thank you.
I agree. I don't care. Mr. Green, 10-team PPR, have McBride as my tight end and Schultz on the bench. Should I drop him and pick up someone like Polk, McLaughlin?
I'd rather have Jameson, personally, than the likes of a Schultz.
Than Dalton Schultz. Yeah, I mean, for me, in order would be Polk, McLaughlin, and then Jameson. But I would say if your running backs are a little bit weak, I would prioritize McLaughlin. That's what I would say.
So, yeah, it's a super interesting question because you have to think, like, for me, I'm thinking through expectations of what waiver wires could look like next week. Polk, as of right now, is technically not a starter for this team. At least he doesn't project to be a starter week 1. I think he could be weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there. But right now, he's not technically projected to be a starter. Jameson is, and he's on a very good offense. So if I'm thinking who could pop off on the waivers next week, that's why I slightly lean Jameson. But I agree with you from like a rest of season perspective. But I would lean Jameson to add to try and beat the breakout this week. And I think Schultz is going to be available. Like he's going to be on and off waivers. He'll be a streaming option. Yeah. He's just not a top name.
Yeah.
By the way, like goal today is 100 likes, guys. With your help, we know we can get there. We've got there yesterday. Appreciate you guys for showing so much love to the channel. We're 75 likes away right now. We need y'all help. We need you to hit that like big time. Smash that like button. Help the channel grow. Let's get to the next question, all right? Which is Jake B. Start Ridley or Ford? Ridley for me.
Yep. Agreed. In the half PPR, yes, I would start Ridley. Actually, start one running back. Okay. Start one running back. Start one running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. So start 4 out of these options.
Yeah, that was a bit confusing to read there, but yeah, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. All right, well, you're not going to sit Devon Achane. We know that.
Yeah.
You're starting Cup. You're starting London.
London.
And so then at flex, 3. I'm probably going to put Mostert. Or Reed if you don't want to double down on the position.
That's kind of where I was going to go. I'm going Jaden Reed because I don't want to put Devon and Mostert in there.
What if Mostert has 3 touchdowns?
That means Devon is the one you should have sat.
Well, Devon could also have a touchdown himself. We know how good that offense is. Think about how many times they both scored touchdowns last year.
I would say this. Doubling down on the offense in week 1 is a bit risky, personally, until we know. I would personally go Jaden Reed with the expectations of this Eagles secondary not being good because they gave up the most points last year.
You forgot they drafted a rookie, so
they Cooper
are
DeJean,
actually going to be a top 5 unit. No, look, here's the thing. I am totally okay knowing I'll get 100% of the Miami Dolphins backfield. That's why I'm going to go ahead and say Mostert and Achane. I totally hear where you're coming from. But let's be honest, there is a chance with Watson healthy that Reed gets 5 targets. I'm not projecting that, but there's a chance he get 5 targets. I know Mostert, based off my projections, is going to see the ball more opportunities, more times. So one of the best offenses in the NFL. I'm just going to take the running back room entirely, but I get the reason why you're saying what you're saying.
Actually, aren't you a Green Bay fan? I remember you were talking up Jordan Love the whole time, and I'm pretty sure that's you.
I think he was like a huge Watson guy last year, if I remember right.
Was it Watson? I feel like he was Watson and Jordan Love, and he was saying Jordan Love could finish as a top something quarterback, and he was actually right.
On Jordan Love. He was right.
He was right.
Yeah, Watson just can't stay healthy. But
anyways, right. Mystic Flame, 16 team super flex started 11-2 tight end premium in the 9th round of a startup. Grab Hurts. Okay, what's the question here? Trade back for 2 additional 25 firsts. Or traded back for 2 additional 25 firsts. Okay, so you're saying this is your team, and you also traded back for 225 firsts.
How far did you trade back?
Well, he got Hurts, Laporta, Deshaun Watson, Kittle, and Njoku.
I'd be happy with that. In a 16 team, that seems like a very good team for a 16 team.
100%. I would say your
wide receivers are super weak though.
Yeah, your wide receivers are weak here with Kirk, Deontay, Hollywood, Dobbs, but you have 225 first next year. So let's see what happens. If you're not trying to compete this year, that's okay. He also has Shakir.
It's a fine strategy. It's a fun strategy, but I will say, like, overall, I'm not in love with the idea of, like, my wide receivers in Dynasty being Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson that I'm building around. So
yeah. He also said Shakir, or Palmer. This would be Palmer.
Yeah, if you're asking this week, Palmer.
Yeah,
A-Train is back, all right? He is fast as boy. He says, who throws for more passing yards between Love and Daniels? Probably Jordan Love.
Yeah,
thoughts on Chase? Still, it's just a situation we have to monitor, guys.
Oh, boy.
I still believe they're going to figure it out, but, of course, I could be wrong. Worried about Kyron? No, not really worried about him. Just lowered expectations season long. That's what we were trying to say on the channel is, look, we're not drafting Kyron Williams. We're not telling you to avoid him. We're just saying maybe lower expectations. Open your mind to a scenario in which Blake Corum is a crucial part of this offense from week 5, 6 onwards. DeWitt says 10-man full PPR, Trevor, Kyler, or Jordan Love at quarterback. How do you have 3 of these options? I would go Kyler.
Yeah. Yes, I have Kyler higher. Jordan Love has a great matchup this week, though, so I think both of those guys, they're not wrong answers. Should I start or sit Kyler Murray or Brock Purdy? I think it'll be Kyler Murray for me.
Kyler Murray for me as well.
Yep.
Friendly reminder, guys, if you want your question answered straight away, drop a super chat. Otherwise, we're going from top to bottom. And the next one is from Blossom Gaming. Brian Thomas Jr. or Deontay Johnson in a trade. So that is a good question because it really asks your conviction. So I guess I'll ask you, where do you sit on this? Deontay Johnson versus Brian Thomas season long. Not just this week, but the rest of the season.
Season long, I have Deontay Johnson projected higher. I've always had him projected higher. That's why I took him before Brian Thomas. I would still be taking Deontay Johnson.
Okay. I love Deontay Johnson. He's my guy this year, but I would have Brian Thomas higher in my season-long rankings. I think Brian Thomas has a ceiling that Deontay does not have, as much as I love him. I don't see Deontay scoring 10 touchdowns. As crazy as it sounds with Brian Thomas, he has that talent. The targets in the red zone are up for grabs, and I think he could. Like, his range of outcome is higher for me, so I definitely get Deontay's a safer option, but if we're playing to win, I think Brian Thomas is the name I'd rather roster long-term over the course of a season. But I get it.
No worries. Hello. Says half PPR 12-man got stuck with no fan for my tight end 1. My goodness. Should I trade Brian Thomas or Keon Coleman for Brock Bowers? I would do Keon Coleman for Brock Bowers if you are in an absolute need, but there's no need to. Keep Noah Fant and then just go with the waves of streaming tight ends.
Waiver wire is going to be your best friend. Don't trade valuable round 1 wide receivers to figure out tight end. Goff or Caleb in 4-point. I'm going Goff here this week. I actually love Jared Goff. Video coming out on him tomorrow.
Is that from Dune?
Yeah.
Anyways. Blossom Gaming, Brian Thomas or Deontay. We answered that question. Good luck, full PPR. Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman, Jalen Waddle for me.
Yeah, I agree. Scooby says, what's up? How are we doing? Connor or Mostert? Also Debo or Godwin.
It'd be Mostert and Debo for me.
Okay. All right.
I'm already starting Evans and Monroe.
I'm going to go James Conner personally. I love Mostert this week. But if I know I can get most of the touches in a backfield, that should be a good offense, I'll go Connor. Debo or Godwin, I would also go Debo. Tank Dell or Derrick Henry for the flex, I'm going Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Durka.
Jaden Reed or Deontay. This would be... Wow, that's actually a very good question.
That is a great question. According to my rankings, I do have Jaden Reed 2 spots higher than Deontay Johnson.
Same, but very, very close. So very tough call. Who's a better stash? Trey Benson, we already answered that.
We answered this.
Kirk or McLaurin for the flex? I'm going Terry.
Yeah, I'm going to go Terry as well.
What's up, Styles?
You said, which 3 should I start in full PPR? Mostert, Pollard, Ford, Javonte. It'll be Mostert, Pollard, and then it's between Ford or Javonte.
Yeah, for me, it's Mostert, Pollard, Javonte. I'd sit Ford. of those names.
Yeah, I have Ford higher than Javante technically, but maybe I need to change that because of the Seahawks and the points that they give up. I just feel really confident in Jerome Ford personally, but I'm gonna back you there. I'm gonna change my rankings and go Javante over Ford.
Yeah, I'm a salesman here. I'm trying to sell you.
You're a salesman. Shout out to Dan Marino.
Well, I just want to quickly say, just quickly,
Go ahead.
Braxton, his DK or Rice question, I think has been one of the most difficult questions I've had all week, choosing between those two names, DK and Rice. Do you have like a solidified opinion on this one? Because I've been back and forth pretty consistently on those two names.
Well, I personally think Rashee Rice is going to be one of the main focal points in the offense, and I
agree.
I can see the Seahawks getting away from this game as much as I like the Broncos and I like Bo Nix and what they can do to Sean Payton. I think this is going to be a feel it out game for Bo Nix. The Seahawks might be up early and they might just run the ball and waste some time. DK could get a touchdown, but I think if there's going to be a team that's high scoring, or a game that's going to be high scoring, excuse me, it could be the Ravens and Chiefs, and I think Rice is going to be needed in that game a lot more than DK.
Yeah, I do think I lean Rice, but it is so close. It's such a difficult question. All right, we did get a super flex. We did get a super chat from Dan Marino, the man himself, Badaki, the goat, the gold jacket himself, Mr. Miami, Dan Marino. 129 pesos. We appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for the love. Super chats do skip the queue, guys. If you want your question answered straight away, that's how you can get it done. Otherwise, we'll go in order. But Dan says, 12-team Superflex PPR. I drafted Waddle over Olave after Mahomes, Richardson, and Gibbs. Mistake or win? I love it. I have Waddle over Olave in my rankings.
Agreed.
I think, we quickly forget that Waddle has already had a top 10 season. We quickly forget he's already finished wide receiver 8 before with Tyreek Hill. If Olave was a top 8 wide receiver this year, do you know how crazy the Dynasty community would go? Do you know how high our expectations would be for him? So, yeah, I mean, Waddle's already done it, He's already done what you want one of these two guys to do.
Yeah, so give me Waddle. I completely agree. I'm not a big Chris Olave guy, specifically this year. Not the talent, it's about the situation. Daniel, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, I'm assuming a 10-team, 3 wide receivers, half PPR, or start 10, excuse me, 3 wide receivers, half PPR. Kyler, what's the question? What moves to make?
Well, first off, big shout out to you from across the pond, right? Because you can see it's a Euro. So he's somewhere
shout out to Euros, man.
He's somewhere in Europe, most likely. I wonder where exactly, but shout out to Daniel. We got a lot of friends from
London town. Come on.
Everton is blue, or what do I always say? Liverpool's blue. All right.
Liverpool blue. It's
Liverpool all about, blue. Please stay up, Everton. I'm begging you.
It's all about Leeds, boys. It's all about Leeds.
I cannot believe we're about to be in a brand new stadium and in the championship. Like we're gonna literally be relegated and in this huge brand new stadium next year. It's insane. But anyway. Okay, so
it's a 10 team. So 10 team, 3 wide receivers, half PPR. He says ended up light on running backs. What moves should I make?
Well, Tyler, to be honest, in a 10-team league, I would have put more emphasis on running back here. Having Ford, Chuba, is that J.K. Dobbins and Mason? That's pretty weak. But at wide receiver, you got Tyreek, Kupp, Neighbors. So you got some moves that you can make here. Like personally,
100%.
I'd probably be using either Reed or JSN. One of those names probably, and package them with a Chuba or a Ford, and we're going to try and get into that range of like a Pacheco, maybe a Jacobs, that kind of range.
Yeah, I like names of like James Cook, Alvin Kamara. If you can get Joe Money Bags, all those names feel really exciting me. Even Kenneth Walker, if you can. It just really depends on what type of value you can potentially get whilst trying to sell the likes of JSN, Reed, because you have 3 starting wide receivers, and those are your guys: Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, DK, and then you're going to keep Malik Neighbors with Brian Thomas Jr., who we believe has a tremendous high upside coming into this year. So trade one of those guys and see where you can get there. But thank you so much, Danny. We appreciate you for the support, man. From London town. Shout out to England.
England
North Southwest
city.
London, bruv. North Southwest London. Incognito, it says full PPR Tyreek Hill, Dave Montgomery, or AJ Brown and James Cook. Wow. I'm gonna go AJ Brown, James Cook this week because I think
this
James
is a
Cook.
trade. I think this is a trade question. Otherwise, he wouldn't put it like that, right?
I'm going AJ Brown, James Cook. If it is a trade question,
I'm definitely going Tyreek. Get the best player in the deal by far.
sure. I can definitely see that. I think if I'm looking at a package, I think I'm looking
Is
at the
James
tier
Cook
up. So
really that big of an upgrade from David Montgomery? I like, in my
I
opinion,
think he
you're
is.
downgrading way further than you're upgrading at running back.
I don't think you're downgrading tremendously at. I look.
think you are.
Actually, I see what you're saying. I think you're
definitely think you
upgrading. I think you're upgrading enough for the running back positions for me for AJ Brown, but I can see both
Okay.
sides there. Hopefully that helps. We did get a super chat from Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar Lopez. Hey, we appreciate you. He said running backs are. What's the question here? Should I trade Waddle in a late 25 first for Gibbs?
Is this dynasty? It must be dynasty if we're talking firsts. But running backs.
Should I trade Waddle?
Brooks, Benson, wide receivers, unique. Okay.
First for Gibbs. Waddle in a late 25 first for Gibbs. Running backs.
That feels like quite. I feel like you're overpaying for Gibbs there. Quite frankly. Like,
yeah,
you should be getting like a second round pick back in that.
Yeah, you're getting a top 15, top 12 wide receiver in some people's rankings, and a first for Gibbs.
Like, I think you should be getting Waddle in a second if you're sending a first. Sorry, I think you should be getting Gibbs in a second if you're sending Waddle in a first.
Bijan Brooks.
That feels a little unreasonable to ask for a first and a name like Jalen Waddle for
Gibbs.
Look,
I think in a dynasty perspective as well, I don't think you need to go out and try and get Jahmyr Gibbs. He's a better talent, but you have Trey Benson, you have Jonathan Brooks. Once these guys are going to get their role, and maybe in 2025, you're going to see that maybe you don't have to give up that 25 first and Jalen Waddle. I know you probably want to compete this year. Maybe that's what you're looking for. But I would rather be holding. Maybe I'll be selling. What you should be doing is selling George Pickens and seeing what type of running back you could be getting. That's what I would do personally.
Yeah,
I'm not a big George Pickens guy.
I think you and I love building around running backs in Dynasty, and you're right. You have enough running backs there long term. I'm totally for getting Gibbs, but you need to get more value on your side long term. And we know running backs, they have a higher injury rate than your wide receivers. But anyway, it's not far off. You just need a little more love your way. Thank you for the super chat. Super chats do skip the queue, guys. Otherwise, we'll go in order. And the next question is from Navin in order. Love the content, boys. Got a few start sits for y'all across my leagues. Tajay or Rico. So let's start there. Tajay or Rico Dowdle. I lean Rico.
Wow.
I lean Rico because I believe he will be the starter. But I hate the question. I really don't like answering that. It feels disgusting telling you to start Rico Dowdle, but
I technically have Tajay Spears higher than Rico Dowdle purely because it's a PPR. It's a PPR play.
Based off of our conversations around that backfield, I am so confused.
Look, I understand. I just have Tajay Spears because of PPR play. I think Rico Dowdle in week 1 in this matchup is going to be a little bit tough for Rico against the Browns. I think if it's not Tajay that's going to be playing against the Bears, maybe this is going to be a back and forth type of game. I think you'll see a lot more opportunities in the air specifically. Okay. Tony Pollard would be the guy there, but I see Tajay outscoring Rico this week. I think long term I want Rico though.
Okay, so long term you want Rico over Tajay? Season long?
Yes.
See, that's funny because we're complete opposite on that entire question then. I want to start Rico this week, but I want Tajay long term. You want to start Tajay this week, but you want Rico. Okay, so
I want Rico.
Navin, this is probably the least helpful question that you've had answered.
We're opposite on both.
Worthy or Brian Thomas Jr.? I would go Brian Thomas Jr. this week, but make a gut call on those. Honestly, guys, the Worthy Brian Thomas Jr. questions, you're going to have to make a gut call. We truly cannot sit here and tell you that we know exactly what's going to happen, but I would lean Brian Thomas myself. And then Worthy or Watson? Would you start Worthy or Christian Watson this week?
Wow.
Haven't had that one yet. I do lean Watson with the matchup, but I can see that going either way.
Yeah, for me it's Brian Thomas and Christian Watson. I just feel like maybe we're overvaluing these rookie roles. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit scared that I'm just like,
it's
all
fun.
right, it's Brian Thomas, it's Worthy, it's Lai McConkey, it's. I
Yeah.
want to believe it and I want to see it, but I think we're gonna go at the end of week 1 and be like, shit, like we should have just. We know rookies don't come out like this.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Christian Watson, Brian Thomas.
Okay. We did get a super chat from Steve. Appreciate you, Steve. You are jumping the queue with that donation. He says 12-man half PPR, Josh Allen, Pacheco, Achan, St. Brown, DJ Moore, and Njoku, Zamir White in the flex. For the flex spot, Amari Cooper or Zamir White for the flex spot, I think is a question here.
For me, this is Amari Cooper over Zamir White.
Does the half PPR change anything, though?
And a half PPR, it does change. Sorry, I didn't realize it's half PPR. And a half PPR, it does change. I would go Zamir White in a half PPR.
He says or Ford. I wouldn't. Ford would be my last option of those three names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would lean Zamir White here in a half PPR. Full PPR would put me towards Amari Cooper, but in a half PPR, I would go Zamir. Those receptions matter a little bit less. They don't not matter, just a little bit less. And
Thank you so much for that.
Full transparency, guys. This will be the worst week that we hit on questions, just because there are so many unknowns with all these offenses and all of the usage for these players. But we are obviously taking all the information we've gathered from the offseason, from news this week, from Coach Speak Index, from projections, from Vegas, over-unders, to make the best educated guesses, really, if we're honest with you at this point. Cole says start 2, Murray, Purdy, or Herbert. I would say Herbert of those names this week.
Agreed.
Just coming off that injury. Dan says
Dan
flex Cup or Rice?
For me, this is Rasheed.
This is where I have to go Cup. I definitely get it, though. I definitely get why you would say Rasheed Rice, but I don't want to spoil a video that comes out tomorrow. All I'll say is I expect a huge week for Cooper Kupp. A huge week. Detroit gave up the 4th most points per game to fantasy wide receivers last year, and that is the highest over-under of the week. That game. So I'm going to go Kupp.
J.K. Ramondre or Zamir White. Zamir White as a flex in a standard league. In a standard, Zamir White.
Yeah, I agree. I have no interest in Ramondre in a standard league with no, benefit to a reception.
Yeah, John, it says I have 2 flex spots out of these 4 guys who to start. Worthy, Thomas, Brock Bowers, Christian Kirk. It would be Worthy and Brian Thomas.
Yeah, I agree. But guys, you have to recognize there is a scenario here where Christian Kirk outscores Brian Thomas. I have them very close in rankings. It's just Brian Thomas is the funner play right now. You got to decide if you want to play fun or you want to play safe. All right.
That's kind of what's making me nervous. It's like we're playing really fun. We're getting excited. It's week 1, Brian Thomas, what we saw in preseason. And week 1 is like, actually, we just got the Ooka Dukes. Actually, they said we're laughing in your face because Christian Kirk's the guy. That's not even just for that situation. It's just for all these other situations that we're talking about for these rookies. But anyways,
Mike Hawk. Shout out to Mike Hawk.
One more time.
Just big. I love Mike Hawk. He's a great guy.
Great guy. I have Brees. Should I drop Boyd for handcuff Allen?
Yes. I don't see a reason to roster Boyd unless it's a.
I would say
league.
Tyler Boyd is interesting if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't play. Are you starting Tyler Boyd this week? Probably not, but yes.
Here's my question to you: is Tyler Boyd with no DeAndre Hopkins more intriguing than when he was in Cincinnati without T. Higgins?
He was a good flex.
He was like an okay flex, maybe at times.
He was a good flex.
I don't know. Chris says, should I trade Brian Thomas for Christian Watson? Which has more upside? I mean, you're literally talking about 2 of the biggest high upside, low floor players at the position right now. If you were to ask me who I want season long, it's Brian Thomas, but it could go either way. I do lean Brian.
I would agree. I do lean Brian, but if you told me right now, Chris, you can absolutely guarantee that Christian Watson is going to stay healthy for 17 games. It's Christian Watson every day. For me, I love Christian Watson. I'm a big Christian Watson guy, but it's Brian Thomas. I agree with you. Terrence,
we got a super chat from
we just
Daniel.
got a super chat.
And
Shout out to
Daniel's in
Daniel here.
Australia, by the way. Where are you from, Daniel? What part of Australia? I see that A before the donation, so you're paying in Aussie dollars. I know you're somewhere. Where are you living in Australia? Appreciate
Come
the
on, mate.
donation. You are going to skip the queue with this one. He says
You
London for
bloody dog.
Kyron. So he's saying London for Kyron. Wide receivers are Olave, Ayuk, Rice, London, Brian Thomas Jr. Running back room is Achane Warren.
Or should I
Yeah,
wait?
that is pretty even. Like Drake London and Kyron Williams are pretty even options there. Um,
Look, for me, I'll be honest with you. I don't want Kyron. I want somebody else within that range. Can I get Derrick Henry? I'm not even a big Devon guy. Can I get Devon? Can I get Saquon?
He's already got Devon.
Oh, you already have Devon. You do. I'm just a little bit concerned because then the next thing I'm going to tell you, if you get Kyron, you need to go out and get Blake Corum. That's kind of what we've been preaching all off season. It's like you have to make two moves just to get one guy. And I think I just want a little bit more security in that range when I look at these running backs personally. That's how I'm feeling. I don't think it's a bad move. I really don't think it's a bad move. I just think then you have to go out and do something else that's not guaranteed. Right? Trying to go out and get Blake Corum. Can you get a Travis Etienne? How about that? Can you get Travis Etienne? Can you get Derrick Henry? Can you get, obviously you can tear down. Like then if you tear down again, can you get Alvin Kamara and then get something else in return? Another wide receiver. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
I am fine with it personally. I'm fine to grab Kyron. Your wide receiver room is already strong enough. You can make that bet if you'd like to make your running back room a little bit stronger. Certainly feels better going into week one, starting Kyron over Warren or Chase Brown. So yeah, you can make more trades if you want. I'm really worried about Kyron long term, not week one. So we can keep making trades around that if we want to get off of him. So Ty says we're only answering money comments. Ty must have just joined the stream because we've answered over 100 normal comments already. This is the way it works, guys. In case you haven't joined us yet, we're going to answer every question from top to bottom. Yes, we answer the normal questions, but of course, if someone's going to donate money to ask our opinion, clearly we're going to answer their question.
How about you just donate and I answer your question right now?
Clearly, if people are going to pay money to hear our opinion, yes, we will take a second to prioritize them. The next non-super chat question is from Terrence, who says, who should I start in my flex? David Montgomery, George Pickens, or Raheem Mostert? For me, this is between Monty and Mostert. I do like Pickens, but I think I lean Mostert here.
Yeah, this is a great question. For me, it is Raheem Mostert, but I think it is very close with David Montgomery there. So keep that in mind. We did get a super chat from Smallsies.
Yes. And breaking news, we do prioritize people who donate questions. Smallsy says, should I try and sell Ramondre? I don't know how you can right now sell Ramondre respectfully. Not that he's a bad player, but like nothing has happened in the world of fantasy to suggest you can sell high on him right now. Do you know what I mean? Like no injuries happened in that backfield outside of Ramondre. We haven't seen Drake May start and see if that offense is going to be better than we currently project it to be. There's no other teams that have lost running backs. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and they need more running backs in your league. So it's just, you can sell him, but it's probably pretty difficult to sell high on him right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Like if you were to sell him, what's a name you'd like to pivot to? I'd love to pivot to Ken Walker. I just don't think you can. I'd love to pivot to Alvin Kamara or Mixon. I just don't think you can. So he feels more like a hold right now, and you have to hope that the offense in New England is better than we anticipate.
Yeah, and I think it will definitely get better for Ramondre because I think this team will be played from behind often. Drake May is going to come in probably in the second half of the season. Ramondre will have a really good, second half year personally, but until Jacoby Brissett gets off the field, I think that's where we see him struggling. But thank you so much for that super chat. We go out back to the top here. Timbo, you said Kyron Williams, T. Higgins, or Kenneth Walker and Richie Rich. I consider trading.
I love Rice, but I think
this is Kyron and T for me. I mean, you're getting Kyron higher than Kenneth Walker. you're also getting T higher than Rashee Rice in your redraft leagues. So
Yeah,
I agree.
Sorry, I just read the next comment. This is like insanely savage / slightly kinky. What's your fantasy punishment? Our last place gets put in a dog
Slightly
cage,
kinky.
and we get to pour whatever we want on them. That just sounds extremely. Clearly, my mind is in the wrong place. But you get to pour whatever you want on them. What does that? What does that mean? What do you mean by that? What are you saying? Yeah, that's
how far are you trying to go?
That's hella degrading. You guys are wild. I mean, like the ones where you spend 24 hours in a Waffle House, at least you have your dignity. I mean, you guys are putting a human being in a cage and just throwing shit on them. Whatever you choose, you're just pouring honey on their body and making them sit in a sticky old cage. That's next level, I would say. Sorry. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I love it though.
Zach was like, what? Is it warm?
Oh, we just stick a guy in the cage for 24 hours and just talk shit to him. Some people pay for that. Fair. Sorry. Anyway, Smallsy has a super chat here. Goff or Daniels? This week I'm going Jared Goff. Great matchup versus the Rams. So yeah, Smallsy. I love Daniels, love him long term, but this week Goff is one of my favorite starts at the quarterback spot, so I'm going to go Goff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Rain, thank you so much for the super chat here. He says Zamir White or Jerome Ford here. I have Zamir White.
Yes, I would lean Zamir White as well. It's a very good matchup. At least it projects to be versus the Chargers. Last year, they were bleeding points to running backs. They were 11th in points allowed to the position. Now, we expect this team to be much better defensively now that there's a new coaching staff. But the matchup looks good. And I think Zamir, he just has the better opportunity, in my opinion, better matchup. I'd rather face the Chargers defense than the Cowboys.
Yeah. I would say in full PPR, I wouldn't be surprised if Jerome Ford could outscore Zamir White, but I hope Zamir White falls into the end zone at least twice.
I can see that. All right, guys, we are answering questions from top to bottom in order. If super chats are made, then we will prioritize those super chats, okay? And Royal is the next one. He says, Josh Palmer having a brighter season moving forward. Yeah, he should have a great year.
I hope so.
He starts off as the wide receiver 1. Averaged over 14 points per game last year as a wide receiver 1 with no Keenan Allen, so he should have a good year. I love that. AJ Star says non-PPR start Debo, Moore, Dell, Flowers, Wilson.
Start 3.
Wilson,
Garrett Wilson,
Debo, Moore.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much, AJ.
We did get a super chat from K3. You go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Golf or AR-15 this week. I have a Monra.
That's tough. I would lean AR-15 on that one though. He presents a ceiling on a weekly basis that very few, if any, quarterbacks have. Now, clearly the floor is low.
What did Jared Goff do last year in opening week? I know it doesn't make any sense, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure that how to have any impact because it's a different matchup.
I don't know. I know. 14
teams.
Points in week 1 against Kansas City. In 2022, 16 points.
Yeah, this
against
Philly.
This
is Anthony Richardson for me. I can see either of these guys, but
I agree.
Like, be honest. You drafted A-Rich way higher than you drafted Goff, and now you're gonna sit A-Rich? No, come on.
I understand you have the stack though. I understand you have the stack.
Sure.
So I think that's what's making his decision difficult. It's like, oh, I want to get more points. I can get more points.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but
update on our like goal. Our like goal is 100 likes on today's stream. We're already over 50, so we're already halfway there. We appreciate y'all big time. Do us a favor, smash that like button. Smash that like button to show some love. We appreciate you guys. I'm not gonna see the comment that was just put in the chat. I don't even know what you're talking about. X City just donated $2 for the super chat. Appreciate you. Zay or Terry at the flex in PPR. Right now, I would lean Terry if the weather is good in Washington. You might not know that though. Like if reports come out in the next couple days, right, that the weather is looking bad in Washington, you might have to start Zay on Thursday Night Football to avoid that situation. So that's one you're going to have to closely monitor.
Yeah, that is one that you have to closely monitor. I would go Terry, but I feel like Zay Flowers could have a game.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like he could. That's just a feeling. But Terry is higher in my rankings. Keep that in mind. Thank you so much for that super chat. We really appreciate you.
I'll be right
If you
back,
guys want
by
to
the way.
skip the queue, no worries. If you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. Next in line that I can see here is, I don't even know how to say the name. I'm not going to say it. Cabalsul. Start Richardson or Murray for week 1. For me, this would be Kyler Murray. I didn't plan on having a second quarterback, but somehow Richardson failed to me in the 12th round. Wow. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But for me, it will be Kyler Murray. I think his game is going to, I mean, he has rushing upside and the passing opportunities that you're going to be seeing against the Buffalo Bills. So I'll go Kyler Murray. Ty says, hey guys, would you start Jaden Daniels or Kirk Cousins week 1? 6-point passing touchdown league. For me, this would be Kirk Cousins. Especially if the weather is going to be bad there in Tampa. Lee, JSN or Worthy in the flex. For me, this will be Xavier Worthy. Scribbles, half PPR, Olave or Waddle. This will be Jalen Waddle for me. Connor, Ladd or Deontay Johnson. Last flex, this will be Deontay Johnson, no question about it. Ryan, about to start my first draft ever, 108. Wish me luck. Hey, brother, good luck. We appreciate you coming through. 108. That could be a nice little solid pick there for you, baby. Turn it up. Turtleneck sweater. Sit 1. St. Brown, Olave, Collins, and Terry. For me, this will be Terry. You're starting Amon-Ra St. Brown. You're starting Olave, and you're starting Nico Collins. Grin. I don't know how to say it. Full PPR. 0.25 for first down, 16-man league. Would you play Tajay Spears or Calvin Ridley? Yeah, this would be Calvin Ridley, no doubt about it.
My Scribble says my roommate walked in when you said spread your seed.
I love that.
Do not go quarterback in the first round, D. Baker. I promise you, unless it's a super flex league, if you're drafting tonight, please, I beg you, do not take a quarterback in the first round. That is maybe the worst move you can make. Paul says,
you know what you should do, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
I know this is so random. You should go on TikTok and just type in NFL drafts. Hilarious how some of those boards go. Like
NFL
you
drafts?
do see. No, you just type in
fantasy
drafts.
Fantasy.
Just type in fantasy drafts and just look at like the people's first rounds, and you're like, damn.
I bet you there's some crazy ones.
It's Josh Allen,
every time I see a
Kelce,
home league draft. Every time I see a home league draft, I'm like, yeah, I am needed in this space. Actually, we matter. Paul here says, is Tank Dell a viable wide receiver 2 for the season? I have CD as my first round wide receiver 1. I would rather Tank Dell be my wide receiver 3, Badaki. I wouldn't want him to be my wide receiver 2, but certainly he has the upside to pay off. It's just, yeah, if you're asking me, like, is it what I would want to happen for my team? No, but we know that Tank Dell's upside is high. I just don't know if the consistency will be there.
Yeah, I would agree. Heisenberg, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Welcome back all the way from, I think that's Euros. 12-man PPR, AR, Brees. Okay, what's the question here? What are your thoughts?
Great upside at quarterback. I mean, Brees Pacheco is one hell of a duo.
Yeah,
I love having Corum as your, your stack.
Great running backs, great wide receivers.
Not your stack, sorry, your handcuff.
Waddle, Neighbors, Brian Thomas.
You go ahead.
I'm just saying. I was just reading it out. Sorry, continue.
Wide receivers are a little weaker than I'd want them to be personally. But I think you have names that I really like that have top 12 upside. So yeah, I mean, I'm overall pretty happy with the squad myself.
Yeah, I think it's a great team. Heisenberg, thank you so much for that super chat. I really like it. Size matters catfishing. It really does matter. But it's all about the motion of the ocean, if you get what I'm saying. Sit 1 standard. Collins, Rice, Cup, or Higgins. In a standard, this will be Nico Collins. Touchdown opportunities.
Sit Collins?
I'm starting. Oh, sit 1. Sorry. I was thinking of starting 1.
Okay. Who are you sitting? Higgins for me.
Yeah. It's T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Am I sitting T. Higgins if Jamar Chase is not playing though?
I still would. I mean, I think T. Higgins is a top 20 play if Chase is out, but I would still play those other names. I don't know how you sit those other names.
Yeah, I agree. In the standard league. Thank you so much, Size Matters.
Can you guys hear that? Something's going on right now.
Something, no worries. Just mute it and we'll go for it. Back to the top, guys. If you want to skip the queue, all you have to do is go to the. I mean, if you want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. But all the way back to the top here, the next person in line was Alex Wong. Kyler Murray or Jaden Daniels? It would be Kyler Murray for the both of us. Cameron says full PPR flex 2 of Dell, Smith, and Debo. This will be Smith and Debo. As much as I love Tank Dell this week, you got to start Debo, Samuel, and Devonta Smith. Bling on top. Correction. Should I trade Kenneth Walker and one of these players for Josh Jacobs and Blake Corum? My thoughts is Kyron will get hurt and Blake will be a good RB2. Okay, I traded Kenneth Walker. Bling on top. He said, okay, should I trade Kenneth Walker and one of these players, Javonte Williams, Najee Harris, or Josh Palmer, for Josh Jacobs and Blake Corum? Well,
no.
Yeah.
No, not really.
I'm not doing it.
I honestly, if you can package Walker and Palmer for Jacobs and Corum, I'm fine. I'm fine to get that personally. But I think all the other names are just asking too much. So yeah, Ken Walker and Palmer. But there's a real scenario after week 1 where Palmer is a much more valuable name. So that's why I was a little bit hesitant. I think he will be the wide receiver 1 there to start. But
yeah, it's kind of tough with some of these names. As much as I even hate Najee Harris this year, I want to stay away from them. I think it's just too much. Anyway, Sergio Worthy or Sutton. This would be Xavier Worthy for me.
Yeah, I like to have fun. So
my
name's
D
Rod,
Baker.
I like to party.
I like to party. I think Joel. Guys, what do you expect from Swift this year? I drafted him as my RB2. Kind of worried. I think he can play under the radar. He could be a good RB2. But I think there's going to be a lot of inconsistencies. It really just depends on what's going to happen with Khalil Herbert and if he's going to be a huge X factor in this offense. But if DeAndre Swift can stay healthy, maybe he can finish within that, 20-22 type range. But it really depends on where you draft him as your RB2.
I'm overall really not that excited for Swift this year, if I'm 100% transparent with you. Clearly, he's a talented player, but if you look at his fantasy success, it's mostly relied on receptions out of the backfield. And now you got an offense where are you like the 4th or 5th option, right? Like behind Keenan, DJ, Rome, Komet. Is it you and Komet sharing that 4th option as the target share? So in an offense led by a rookie, it is Caleb Williams, so it might be a very good offense. It might be a generational start for a rookie. But overall, I would just say, in general, I'm not, super, I don't know how to explain it in, a nice way. I think he'll be fine. He'll be completely fine mid. I don't think he wins leagues. I don't think he loses leagues. Denny says, full PPR, Rashee Rice or T. Higgins if Chase is out. I'm still going Rice if Chase is out.
Yeah, I agree.
We already answered that one. Alex says, thoughts on Goddard? Would Hawkinson be a good pickup when he comes back? Yes, I think you should pick up Hawkinson already and put him on your IR by now.
Yeah, just have him put him on your IR if you have IR spots. Most of Keaton Allen, the flex is Raheem, the dream. Tunchi, happy PPR no premium, unstacked. Kelsey or McBride, stacked with Kyler. Thanks, guys. I still want Travis Kelsey. Doesn't matter if it's with. Doesn't matter if you have the stack or not.
I'll still take the player I have ranked higher, Raphael. Although what I will say is if you can tier from Kelsey to McBride and improve somewhere else, that's ideal.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
JT or AJ Brown at pick 10. I would go AJ Brown.
Wait, we didn't answer Raphael.
Sorry. My bad. Go ahead.
Michelle, who should I start? PPR pick 2. This would be Brian Thomas and Monty.
Yes, but very difficult question because I have a lot of those guys. I view them similarly. So,
AJ Brown or JT or AJ Brown. For me, this would be AJ Brown at pick 10.
Yep, agreed. Chuba, Addison, Worthy, or Palmer in week 1. For me, this is if you want to play it safe, Palmer. If you want to have fun, Worthy. All right, I like to party.
Sorry, I was just reading something.
We answered this one from Steve already, I believe. Lee says, full
Lee.
PPR, who may I flex? Worthy, Dobbins, Edwards, Dalton Schultz, Wright. The only one you can flex there, in my opinion, is... Look, I would go Worthy, but I could see Gus Edwards being a fine play. I just think Worthy, again, I like to party.
Yeah, I'm going right. I like to party. Hunter. Anyone on Chase of playing yet? No. If so,
No.
go Big Blue. Hey, talk it up. The New York Football Giants. Something special is going to happen on Sunday night against the Vikings. Come on. Jay Wood was all for Hunter Henry, DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin for Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, and Nick Chubb. Hunter Henry means nothing to me. Respectfully, DeAndre Swift. I want Malik Neighbors here.
Yeah.
I want
Absolutely.
Malik Neighbors.
Etienne Neighbors or Monty Pittman, which side is better? Etienne Neighbors.
Etienne Neighbors. Yeah.
Chuba, Addison Worthy, or Palmer? We already answered this, no?
We already answered that, yeah.
T. Higgins or Terry McLaurin?
I'm going T.
If the weather is fine, I'm going Terry. If Chase is out, I'm going Higgins.
Tajay's or Jalen Warren this week. I'm going Tajay.
Same. Swift or Addison in full PPR? I think you got to go Swift. I just think he's a safer play right now.
Bernardo's Raheem a viable RB2 for the season? I think he is. I have him as my RB2 in a couple of leagues when I kind of punted that RB position and got him in the late 5th, early 6th.
Yeah.
Maybe
I definitely hear you. I think I prefer him as my RB3 overall, but if you played a strategy where you got other positions earlier, I can totally see why that would make sense. Jacob says, just traded John Taylor and DJ Moore for Tyreek and David Montgomery. What do you think?
Just traded Jonathan Taylor and DJ Moore for Tyreek Hill and David Montgomery. I'm
okay with the Tyreek side, but we do have to recognize there's a chance. I'm not saying it will happen. There's a chance David Montgomery's production really falls off this year.
I think so as well with JT. Because
really? How?
Because of Anthony Richardson taking vulturing touchdowns.
Sure, but I don't worry about another running back there, so I don't.
No, I'm not worried about another running back. I'm just thinking of if we're thinking of the upside of Jonathan Taylor, I wonder how capped that is with Anthony Richardson and a mobile quarterback. Could be wrong there, but yeah. I do like Tyreek Hill and David Montgomery. I'm not as high on JT than a lot of people are this year. Western. First pick in the 12-man. Do I go CMC or Lamb? We start. What's that? So start 2, 4, 5. So I'm assuming start 7.
Yeah, it's start 7. I'm gonna go CMC here.
Yeah. Raiders start Devonta Smith, Rice, or Terry. For me, this is
Smith and Rice.
Yeah, Smith and Rice. Richardson or Love this week 1. For me, this is Jordan Love.
Yeah, I'll go Richardson. If you drafted him, you drafted him earlier than Love. Both, decent matchups. I just think, I don't want to sit the guy that I drafted higher than the other one. In most scenarios, it's not completely blank statement, but drop Chase Brown for Brian Robinson and lose my number 1 priority. Yes, someone dropped Brian Robinson for Corum. I would personally rather have Brian Robinson, so I would do that. But I don't know. I don't know about you, but I know.
No, I personally want Brian Robinson. No, I personally want Brian Robinson. I have him high on my rankings. I would say this: is there anyone else that you have on your team that you have, right? Like if you have a Jalen, if you have like a Jane, like would you for example, if you have Jameson Winston, Jameson Williams, if you have Jalen Polk, if you have Tyrone Tracy, if you have Darnell Mooney, if you have anyone lower than Chase Brown, drop them and pick up Brian Robinson.
Yeah,
yes,
the other question we have to ask is it really worth losing your number 1 priority, though? I don't know if it is. I love Brian Robinson, but think about it. Week 1 is typically the most important week for your waiver wire. And if you're losing the number 1 priority, last year you would have missed out on Kyron or Puka. Now, it's unlikely we have names that are that impactful, but who's this year's Nick Chubb, where the guy ahead of them goes down and you miss out? So I actually, as much as I love Brian Robinson, the more I think about this, I don't know that it's worth losing the number 1 priority.
Yeah, I mean,
which, by the way, we need to change our home leagues to Fab. It's ridiculous that we still do priority in our home leagues.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I mean, I think it's a toss up. I think we're really betting. I guess like because the reason why I'm hesitant is because I mean I think what we saw last year was like we saw two top positions become like two top 10, top 5 type of production. But the year before we didn't see that. I mean, we saw
It's not
what
true. The
was who
waiver
was the year
wire
before?
brings league winners every single year. Come on. I mean, look, I can't tell you off the top of my head. I mean, I can go back and look at waiver wire pickups.
I think they bring league winners, but like I think what we saw last year was just like they were like superstars, league
Jamal
winners. Like
Williams
that was
was
like
the pickup for 2022. He scored 20 rushing touchdowns. Um,
I guess look, up to your discretion, Jorge. I personally would be okay with getting Brian Robinson, and maybe your running backs are struggling, unless this is a smaller league. If this is like like a 10-man league, and Brian Robinson is just going to be on the waiver wires, just maybe wait till the priority. I think that's also another thing. But if you are in a league, or if your team, sorry, if Chase Brown's like your RB2 and you need another running back and Brian Robinson is on the waiver wires, maybe go pick him up. That's what I would say.
yeah.
I definitely get what you're saying about the waiver wire priority though being first. I just feel like maybe the expectation last year specifically was like they like went crazy, where I feel like it's not like top 10, it's more like top 24,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
Do
to
you get
me,
what I'm
I would
saying?
expect the number one priority in week one to be more valuable than going from Chase to Brian Robinson.
Yeah,
So,
I can understand that. Hopefully that helps. Pierce, he says full PPR, Scary or Ramondre would be Terry if the weather holds up pretty good.
yeah, that's close. Full PPR, I think I might lean Ramondre. I think he's safe for play with his
Okay.
work out of the backfield, but it is close. Garrett Wilson or Smith, I'll go Garrett Wilson.
Yep, no question.
Reminder, guys, super chats do get your question answered straight away. Otherwise, we're doing our absolute best to pile through them, going from top to bottom and answering as many as we can. Miguel is the next one here. He says, I got. What does that say? Is that JT?
This is is that JJ maybe?
Lamar Jackson, maybe?
Yeah, I got Lamar Jackson as QB. Yeah.
Two running backs
LJ
are
as
JT and
QB.
Bijan. Two wide receivers are Adams and Olave with Neighbors as a flex. Yeah, I mean, incredible. Well done. Sounds like you're in maybe a 10-man league, but really, really strong roster. We did just get a super chat from Gerardo T. So he is skipping the queue here with his donation. Appreciate you for supporting the show. He says, yo, weak running back room. I got Kenneth Walker, Pollard, Corum, Benson. Wide receivers are Lamb, Nico, Waddle, Myers, Jason. I like the upside, but need something right now. Trade Pollard for Moss.
No, I want Tony Pollard over Zach Moss personally.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So
seems like a
you're right.
lateral move, if anything, limiting upside, maybe.
I don't think your running back room is terrible though. I mean,
I
you
don't-
have some high upside guys. Like you have Kenneth Walker, you have Pollard, who's going to be your two starting RB2s or your RB1, RB2 right now. Blake Corum, if Kenneth or Kyrie Williams goes down, I mean, Zach's been saying all year he's one of the best handcuffs or a league winner. And then Trey Benson, also another guy we've been saying if James Conner goes down, he's going to be the starter in that backfield. I don't think you need to panic right now. I think you probably want a higher running back as your RB2, but I think Kenneth Walker and Tony Pollard is good enough going into the first couple weeks, in my opinion. If you want to go out and get somebody else, I don't think Zach Moss is a guy because I see him losing workload in the second half of the season.
Well,
I would
I'll say
say-
this. I could easily see Moss outscore Pollard this year. I totally see that range of outcomes, but it's not an expectation. It's not a clear upgrade when you're making this move. So, yeah, I'm with Badaki in the sense of just hold. Like you built your team to be strong at wide receiver. Start those wide receivers, hopefully get some wins, and see if some of them break out like a JSN. It gives you a little more wiggle room to make some deals. I think right now, you're probably best to hold at this very moment.
Thank you so much for that super chat, though, Gerard.
Yes. Appreciate you. I think Nathan is the next
Nathan.
regular question here. Higgins, Rice, Watson this week. Rice for both of us, I'd say.
Yep.
The roll says I
The
traded
roll.
Gibbs and Benson for JT and Jacobs. You might remember my question from yesterday. Same trade, but Benson instead of Swift because I have Swift ranked higher and want to keep him all because I own Caleb. Okay. I'm kind of indifferent. I do prefer the Gibbs and Benson side of this in a Dynasty League personally, Badaki. I am a big Benson guy in Dynasty. But I don't think this is a bad trade by any means. I just think it's like you're getting your guys versus another guy getting his guys. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a
I would say that.
I'm not saying it's a bad trade at all. It's just Gibbs and Benson are kind of like two guys I really love.
Royal, Christian Watson or Romeo Dobbs is Christian Watson for the both of us, I would say.
Yes.
Sports Fiend, Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson. High upside is Anthony Richardson, no doubt. So I will go there as well. Chase Sitz, Yeshivas, Coleman, or Brian Thomas. I mean, that's a great question, or not great question, but like a great ad. Like Andre Yeshivas should be like somebody we could potentially move up above some of these other wide receivers.
He was on the waiver wire video that I brought before week 1.
Yeah.
Add these names. I'm
just saying, like, not even to add, like, to potentially be starting in week 1. Like, do you start Andre Yeshivas or Jacoby Myers? Do you like? I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about real deep, right? Like, maybe
you want to go deep with me, bro? You want to get real deep with me?
We can get real deep in a dog cage with nice warm honey. Excuse me.
Jeez Louise, the people who just joined the stream are going to be so confused. Look, I don't think his role changes that much because I think he still plays the slot just like he would before. Hannon Burton plays the Higgins role. So it wouldn't change much for me. The chase role, yeah.
Just interesting there. I see you, Danny, in the chat. What's happening, brother? He says word on the street is the one is a 1-0 start from Team Danny Lad.
I mean, let's show them Danny's roster here. A lot of belief in Chase Brown, Danny. Danny drafted Chase Brown over a lot of startable running backs. You guys tell me. This is me and Danny's game, week 1.
Mr. Fantastic there. My guy was stretching across the world to get Chase Brown.
So I've got Burrow, Henry, Mixon, Tyreek, Deontay, McBride, Godwin, Ayuk. And he has Dak, Brees, Chase Brown, Rice, Collins, Pitts, Adunze, Neighbors. I feel pretty good about you starting Chase Brown and Adunze, personally. Obviously, I could see Adunze going off. I could see Chase Brown going off, but I also see a scenario where their floor is pretty low. I hate that you have Neighbors. I hate that you have Collins and Rice, and we'll have to see where the cards fall where they may.
We'll see. But send me a trade if you want something.
That bench is a little weak, Danny. I love it though. We did get a super chat from Israel.
Yeah, Israel Lopez. He says full PPR 10 team pick 6. I have one flex. I got Anthony Richardson. Okay, full PPR 10 team picks. Oh, you just picked at the 6. One flex. I got Anthony Richardson, Kyron Will. Okay, what's the question? Scared to have
St. Brown and Laporta on the same team. Should I trade them? No.
No,
brother. No,
not at all.
You got a tight end that can finish tight end number 1 overall. You have a wide receiver that can finish number 1 wide receiver overall. There's no reason to overthink it because they play for the same team, in my personal opinion. I mean, sure, if you can trade Amon-Ra for Chase right now and upgrade somewhere based off of people freaking out about Jamar Chase, if you can get, let's say, Jamar Chase and Josh Jacobs, and you send, just as an example, Amon-Ra and David Montgomery, then great. But otherwise, I think we don't need to overthink it.
Yeah, don't overthink it. You're chilling, brother. Thank you so much for the super chat. The next one is, we already answered Pierce's. Donald, he said, trade Javonte Williams for Mostert full PPR and good even in my ninjas. How you doing, my brother? I would prefer
Mostert. What about you? Yeah,
I want Raheem to dream for sure. Ocho, full PPR Rice for Godwin is Rice for the both of us. And then half PPR Rice for McLaurin. I think it's Rice for both.
Yeah, I would agree. Duke says, Duke Silver, by the way. That's a great call out. If you know, did you watch Parks and Rec or no?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh,
I don't watch that shit. I don't watch that shit.
great show. Great call out. Love the username. Need one for flex. Watson, Ayuk, Dell, or Brian Thomas. In this scenario, I think you do need to go Ayuk.
One Brandon Ayuk here.
But I do have low expectations this week for him. Brian Robinson or Devin Singletary? I'd be going. That's a great question. I think I lean B-Rob, but let me double check.
I lean Brian Robinson personally.
I do lean Gus Edwards, or sorry, fucking
Devin Singletary.
Devin Singletary.
That's what's happening, Chef. How you doing? Joao, he says start Hopkins or Worthy. For me, this is Worthy if DeAndre Hop. Well, there's Worthy if DeAndre Hopkins plays or not.
Yeah, I agree. I hear you, Roll. I hear you. I think we answered
K3. I think it was
K3
a super chat.
no, did we? I don't remember.
I think so. So should I send the trade wide receivers from the upgrade? Maybe this is a different question.
That
should I send a trade? Should I send a trade with my wide receivers for a running back upgrade? So you have James Cook, Monty, and Tyler, and your wide receivers are Monroe, Myron Harrison, Cup, Thielen, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis. I personally like your running back room in James and Monty. I think you could definitely upgrade. I don't know who you would send to upgrade because that means you would have to use Marlon Harrison and Cooper Cup. So I think you just have to stay put there. Gabe Davis also in another league and Chris Godwin over at X at the flex.
Yeah, I don't think you have the depth to make a move right now, to be honest, man. In another league, Godwin over X. I would play Godwin if the weather's good. No worries. Daniel Sports. I think we've answered this actually a lot today, but I'm going A-Rich.
Yeah, I said Anthony Richardson as well.
Okay, love it. It's okay to laugh. Says when heavy on wide receivers. What's the question here? How bad is it? It's not bad, bro. You have 3 running backs that you can start. You're fine. Brian Robinson, we answered this already. Stop putting your questions in twice, guys. Actually annoying. Gavin says trade Derrick Henry for Kyron. I prefer Henry personally, but I know that's not popular.
Agreed.
Okay.
I would trade Derrick Henry and I will keep Derrick Henry, and then keep Blake Corum. That's what I'll do. And a 10-man PPR pick 3, AJ Brown, Nico, Higgins. Pittman is AJ Brown, Nico, and Higgins for me.
I would sit Higgins of these names unless Chase doesn't play. Then I would play Higgins over Pittman. I would play Pittman over Higgins if Chase plays. Reed or Ridley this week. I would go Jaden Reed slightly over Ridley.
Let me see what I have. I have Jaden Reed as well.
Okay.
Full PPR, Flowers or Pickens. I will go Zaza.
Yeah, this would be Pickens for me.
Dobbins or P. Ryan this week is J.K. Dobbins. Sorry, continue.
I was going to say, last year, Zay Flowers only averaged 11 points per game in games when Mark Andrews was healthy. So I do think there's a limited ceiling there. Now, of course, he can take a leap in year 2. That's totally possible. But Flowers is not the number 1 target on his team. Pickens is. And I get that they're different offenses, but they're both low passing volume offenses. And I just prefer Pickens. Dobbins or P. Ryan, who did you go?
I went Dobbins.
Yeah, same. Full PPR, Ayuk also. Ayuk or Pickens? We'll go Ayuk. Detroit bolstered their secondary. Good luck. Okay. All right. Ben says, could you see Kupp having a better season than Puka? Totally. I could see it happening. It's not what I'm projecting, but I could see it happening.
Agreed.
Grennan says, Tajay or Chase Brown in the second RB spot.
Was this the same question as last time where I had Tajay and you had somebody else? Oh, no, that was somebody else. This would be Tajay Spears for me.
Well, now that I know they have officially named Moss as a starter, I would move Chase down my rankings.
Chase Brown downtown.
So, yeah. I'm going to go Tajay there.
Keenan, 10-team PPR, 1 card. Okay, what's the question? Who should I start? Looks like you have all your starters there, brother. Daniels, Kyron, Mike Evans, DK, Ferguson. I mean, how many starters is this? 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So start 8. Everyone that you mentioned right now, I think I would definitely change. Actually, that might be okay. I would change Rice over DK. That's all I would
Okay.
change.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Joe says, I have the second pick in non-PPR 8-team league. 18-team league. Who should I pick? Non-PPR, then it's got to be one of the running backs. If there's no point per reception, it absolutely has to be Bijan
Standard.
or Christian McCaffrey
Reese.
or one of those names. Yeah.
True.
We got a super chat from Black Jesus, by the way.
Yo.
So I don't know if you want to take this one, maybe. Go ahead.
Drop Josh Palmer for Christian Watson. I personally would have Christian Watson
Yeah, I'll
over
take
Josh
Watson.
Palmer.
I'll take Watson too. If Watson can stay healthy, he's got a ridiculous upside. So yeah, I would also agree with you.
Funny.
A man of the people. We call Daniel
Shout out to
here.
Black Jesus. We need Black Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. We need all forms. By the way, guys, super chats do skip the queue if you want your question answered straight away. Otherwise, we'll go in order. Joshua is the next one in order, and he says Adunze will have the best fantasy season of all rookies in 2024.
Okay,
all right.
Talk it up.
It's more of a statement there from him. Henry says Kirk or Deontay, full PPR. I'm going Deontay. What about you?
Agreed.
Kirk could be a nice play, honestly, but I just know Deontay's the one there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm getting all hyped, and I loved Kirk, and I saw Brian Thomas, and anyways, there's just so much going on in my head with that offense.
Well, they could both be good starts, to be honest, Brian and Kirk this week. But Pug with no earrings, is this fire? It's fire, man. Absolutely
super hot fire, my guy. Come on, talk it up.
Jason Nicoya and Waddle on the same team. Very well done. Jeff says Zamir White or Mostert, and let's start there. Mostert, and then Christian Kirk or Pittman. I'm going Pittman.
Pittman. Yep, agreed.
Geno Smith or Baker Mayfield? That is a great question. If the weather is fine, I'm going Baker. Otherwise, I think Geno's a fine option.
That's where I was going to go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
I am Leonard Williams. Yeah, I used to play for the Giants.
Yes.
Zamir White or Jerome Ford. I think we'll both say Zamir White.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well.
Jay, start 1 PPR. Brian Thomas, Dottle, Chase Brown. For me, this is Brian Thomas. Or Brian Robinson, excuse me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Agree.
Wide receiver 2 and a flex, Debo, Rice, Moore, Marvin. This will be. I had the struggle yesterday with Marvin and Rice. I'm gonna go Marvin and Rice here.
I love Rice, but I'm going Marvin and Debo. Okay.
I'm going Marvin and Debo. Right.
Okay, yeah. Hey, heads up on the like goal. We got a like goal today of 100 likes. We're at around 75, so we only need a couple more likes to get there from y'all. So be a friend, hit that like button, subscribe if you want. These start sits, guys. We're going to be live almost every day, 5 days a week. We'll be live throughout the entire season answering your questions. So make sure you subscribe, you turn those notifications on so you don't miss the stream. And y'all know this, we answer all questions. We go from top to bottom in order, but the super chats get answered straight away. If you want to get a question in early, you can see when we're going live if you're subscribed, and put some questions in before we even go live and watch it back later. What could I realistically get for Rico Dowdle in a trade? I think someone might buy you a pizza sub from Subway.
Pizza sub from Subway for Rico?
I don't know. I just don't think there's like I don't think you can trade Rico now. Like he's a fun stash. He's a fun guy to have on your team and see what he could be. But I don't think anybody's like, oh my God, I really want to trade for Rico right now. Am I reading that wrong?
I agree. I was gonna say I think no one wants to trade or trade away Rico right now because of the reports that just came out of him being the lead back or getting more opportunity. I just think it's a little bit tough.
So
I would just keep him.
Yeah, I think it's too difficult to try and sell him right now. I'd rather just see if he's the actual dude and then actually have trade value or not. We got a super chat from Rebel Enterprises CCTV. So he is skipping the queue here. And Rebel says, should I do this trade? Full PPR, 2 flex. Jaden Dan. Okay, so what is the trade here?
Kyler Murray, Higgins, and Hubbard.
Okay, right.
4,
Kyler, Higgins, Hubbard, Hall,
Brees
London.
Hall, London. Only quarterbacks I have is Jaden Daniels.
Oh, absolutely. Are you telling me this is a 1 quarterback league? If this is super flex, let me know. But assuming this is a 1 quarterback league, you can send Kyler, Higgins, and Hubbard for Brees Hall and Drake London? If that's possible, you're literally burying this other team into complete irrelevancy from day 1. And you're making your team a superstar squad.
Completely agree. Abel, thank you
The
so much
Brees
for
Hall
the
London side, by the way, by a million. I just wanted to clarify, it is super flex. Okay, so we had 3
Oh, it is. Okay, we have to rethink this. Kyler, Higgins, and Hubbard for Hall and London. No, you lose Kyler Murray, and then you only have Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
You have to keep Kyler Murray.
Yeah, you can't make that move in Superflex unless you have a really, really reliable 3rd quarterback, which it doesn't sound like you do.
No.
Sorry, go ahead.
Abel, thank you so much for the super chat. Who should be my RB2 in a PPR, Swift or Mostert? For me, this would be Raheem the Dream.
Yeah, I agree.
Rumble. Thank you so much for the super chat. Murray, Amara, what's the question here? Please rate my team. Love the stream. Should I make some changes to my team? Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the team here. Murray, Amara, Debo, Walker, Aaron Jones, Evan Ingram. You have Stephon Diggs. I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is a phenomenal team.
Yeah.
I'm not big on Stephon Diggs. I think you can have a better flex, but from what this looks like, it looks phenomenal.
No, I'm a huge fan of this. Diggs is an ideal flex. I think Aaron Jones is a fine RB2. He has some enticing upside. So I think you've got a great team, man. I'd give it a strong B+. Rebel says he has Hall in London. Okay, so here's the issue, Rebel. It sounds like you don't need Kyler Murray then. If you're saying you have Hall in London, well, hold on. The only quarterback he has is Jaden Daniels. Now
that's what I'm saying. Right? He needs Kyler Murray. So if you have Hall in London and this is super flex, and your only quarterback is Jaden Daniels, and you're getting Kyler Murray, T. Higgins, and Chuba Hubbard.
What are your running backs if you lose Brees Hall?
That's what I was gonna. That was my next question. We need to know your running backs because you're losing.
Can you make Chuba a Devin Singletary instead, or a Brian Robinson, or a Najee, or a Raheem Mostert, or one of those names, Zamir White? I think you're gonna have a little more wiggle room there. Because overall, I like the idea of getting Kyler Murray. I really, really do. But I think there's a counter there out there for you. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps, man. We really appreciate you. If you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. But if not, we're going back to the top here, answering your questions in order. I think the next question that was in order was JP, Stafford or Purdy this week.
Mm-hmm.
I have Brock Purdy personally higher still.
Yeah, I do too, but you know what though? I really don't think I should. Man, it's so tough because the Jets are maybe the worst defense you can face for fantasy right now. And Stafford has maybe the most exciting matchup of the week versus the Lions. The most points expected to be scored over underwise. The most fantasy relevant wide receivers in any game with Amon-Ra and Puka and Kupp. I could easily see why you'd start Stafford over Purdy, to be honest. But now that they signed Trent Williams, clearly the Niners are the better offense, but it's a terrible matchup. So I don't mind if you go with a gut call there, but I do slightly lean Purdy by 1 spot in my rankings.
Ray Gamer, start 2 in standard 6-point tight end. Waddle, Brandon Ayuk, or Rashee Rice. Other wide receivers are Keenan Coleman. So start 2. For me, this would be Waddle and Brandon. Waddle and
Rice for me.
Yeah. Waddle and Rice are not Waddle Rice. Brandon Ayuk and Rice are close to my rankings. They're back to back actually. Standard. It's a standard. Who's scoring a touchdown?
Who's facing Sauce Gardner? That's the only question I want to know is who's facing Sauce Gardner.
Who's facing Sauce? I'll go Rice with you. I'm on Rice side. I'm just saying I think this is tougher than we think. LeBoot. Out of the 4, Rice, Waddle, DJ Moore, Neighbors. I feel like we answered this before, but it's Rice, Waddle.
You can start 1? What's the question?
Oh yeah, what is the question? Out of the four, that's a great question.
I'll just rank them how I have them in my rankings this week, which would be Waddle, Rice, Neighbors, Moore. Would you give up Adams straight up for
Agreed.
Gibbs? Yes, I would prefer Gibbs.
No question.
In PPR or half PPR, actually. Aaron Jones or T. Higgins in standard. So no PPR here.
I mean, I think this is a tough
better chance
question.
at a touchdown?
This is a tough question because we don't know how they're going to utilize Aaron Jones. Like, is this going to be still passing where he's going to get a lot of opportunities in the backfields, or he's going to get the touches? I feel like T. Higgins has a safer opportunity to get the touchdown if Jamar Chase doesn't play.
Okay. Honestly, you could convince me either way. If Jamar Chase isn't out, I'll definitely go T. Higgins. If Chase plays, then I personally just feel like I gots to go with Aaron Jones versus your Giants. I'm sorry. Your Giants aren't good. It's okay to say your team isn't good.
Well, it's, what I do know is a brand new year, and anything can happen. And
Yeah.
we were in the playoffs 2 years ago, and we beat the Minnesota Vikings, who we had.
Here's the problem.
And
Here's the problem. You go to the NFL draft and you think, oh, any team could be good now. We got all these new players. I'm sorry, it's the same old Giants.
It's not the NFL. No, it's not the same old
It's the
Giants.
same
John Runyon,
old
Jermaine
Giants.
Illuminor, Brian Burns, Deontay Banks in the second year, huh? Blake Neighbors, Daniel Jones off of ACL tear. Talk it up.
I've never heard a Giants fan excited about Daniel Jones this year, except for this guy. All right.
I've never.
So that tells you something.
I'm not excited about Daniel Jones. I'm excited about the offensive line that we finally have. I'm excited about Brian Burns. I'm excited about a number one wide receiver that we finally. I'm just excited that we could potentially give Daniel Jones time. Is Daniel Jones the answer? Absolutely not. But at least he has an offensive line. Anyways,
I'll see
that's
you
a whole nother
in New
conversation.
York, Shador Sanders. We did get a super chat from Rebel Enterprises CCTV. And this is a reply to his previous super chat. Appreciate you, Rebel.
Sure.
Thanks for the love, man. But what was his previous super chat? So he has a reply. I'm just trying to see where the reply is. He says, yes, I need Murray. He says,
I have Hall.
Gibbs.
These is running backs.
Hall,
I have Hall,
White,
Gibbs,
Robinson.
Yeah.
I think that leaves you quite weak without Hall at running back, to be honest, man. Again, I think you need to counter. I like the format here. I like the idea of getting Kyler, Higgins, and Hubbard. But I think you need to counter this and make Hubbard a stronger running back. Either Higgins needs to be a better option or Hubbard needs to be a better option, so you have more flexibility within trades. Hubbard is a startable asset right now, but when Jonathan Brooks comes back from that ACL tear, he is going to take all work, and Hubbard will just won't be a name that you can start. He will fall to waiver wires. He just will. He's always been an option where you can start him at the beginning of the season, but not someone you can build around long term. So if you can make Hubbard here, Rebel, don't donate again. All right, don't donate another super chat. All I want you to tell me is who are the running backs on this guy's team that you can choose from. That's all I want you to tell me, and then we'll get back to your question. Luke Crowley's in the chat. I love Luke Crowley, one of my favorite people, genuinely one of my favorite people in the world.
He's
so
lying.
genuine,
He's lying. He's actually
dude.
lying to you. He says I'm his favorite person in the world.
I've never told you that.
You know
I've never told you that.
Luke, look at me. He's told me that.
Straight lie.
You're not his favorite person in the world. I'm joking. All love.
I promise
Appreciate
you, I've never told Badaki that he's my favorite person in the world. I have to talk to this guy every single day. I'm joking. Sugar Nips. Great transition here to Sugar Nips, who says full flex PPR, Godwin, Waddle, or Rice. I'm going Waddle here.
I have Rice technically higher than Waddle, but yes, I like Waddle this week.
Shout out to Sugar Nips though. Go ahead. Next question.
Yeah, Fragile, he says, I got offered Tank Dell for Corm and Jaden Reed in full PPR. Should I take it? Tank Dell and Blake Corm from Jaden Reed. That's interesting. I personally would say yes. I think the bigger question is to you, Fragile, is what are your running backs looking like? If you're somebody that in need of a running back, I think Blake Corm could potentially be a league winner or a second half guy that takes opportunities away from Kyron Williams. But if not, let's say you have Breece Hall, Dave Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson, whatever the case may look like. Let's say you have solid running back foundation. I'm okay taking Tank Dell for this trade, in my opinion. You let me know.
Yeah, I prefer to keep the Corum Reed side of this, and I definitely hear where you're coming from. I think, Jaden Reed is kind of like the non-sexy Tank Dell this year. Great quarterback in a crowded wide
Yeah.
receiver room in an offense that should be good. And to have Corum as that league-winning handcuff, if anything were to happen to Kyron, I think is very enticing to me. So I would be happy with the Reed and Corum side personally. Waiting for a reply from Rebel, who says, I have Hall. Yes, yes, yes. No, I hear you, brother. I need to know who that team has. The team that you are trading from. I need to know that, all right? So, Rebel, again, don't need to donate. Tell us what the person's team that you're trading from has at running back. We did get another super chat from Treston, so he's jumping the queue with this donation. Appreciate you, man. It's an auction league, and he's basically asking if he has any weaknesses on the squad. So, A-Rich, you've got Saquon, Etienne.
Wilson.
Your running back room is very strong.
Wow. I feel like the downfall on this team here, as much as I love Jake Ferguson, if I'm looking at it from everyone on this team, Jake Ferguson is the weakest. You have great wide receivers, you have great running backs, you have a great quarterback.
But I would say, like, Ferguson is totally someone I'm comfortable going into the season as a starter. But
I am.
In a 10-team league, you're right. I mean, we answered a similar question for someone in a previous chat, and they were confused why I told people to buy Jake Ferguson, even though I told them Ferguson was a great option. It's all about your league settings. Jake Ferguson in a 12-man league, great tight end to go out and start every single week. But in a 10-man where you need those more elite options at the onesie position, I do agree with Padaki. That's the one position you might be able to upgrade. I mean, if you could package like Ferguson and Deontay Johnson and get yourself into like the McBride range or, the Laporta range, I think that's ideal. But overall, really well done. Sounds like you found the right values and you used your money right in the auction. I'd say B+, A- range.
Yeah, I think this is a great team, Tristan. Thank you so much for the super chat here. Rebel TV did respond. Yes. He said he has Kyron Williams, Henry Hubbard, Ramondre Stevenson, and Tajay Spears. What are you thinking?
So I instantly go to Tajay Spears over Hubbard here. Season long, thinking about if Chuba Hubbard puts up 20 points this week, his value will not increase at all in fantasy football. Why? Because we all know Jonathan Brooks is coming back. But if Tajay Spears puts up 15 points, his value will increase because people know that he can become the RB1 on this team with Pollard there. So personally, my counter would be, can you give me Stevenson instead of Hubbard? If you can't give me Stevenson, the next counter is, can you give me Spears instead of Hubbard? And between one of those two names, I'd pull the trigger.
I agree. Thank you so much, CCTV. Hopefully that helps. Thank you so much, Tristan. If you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. But going back to the top here, we left off with Squeezy. I'm pretty sure it says neighbors or Rice. I think we'll both say Rashee Rice.
Well, did we answer Pug with no earrings?
We did. Sorry. He answered. We had that question before.
Yes.
I would say this is a great question, though. I think Malik Neighbors and Rice is a lot closer than we think. But if you're looking at the quarterback play, Rashee Rice just feel a lot safer. Shout out to John with John Jeffrey. Mystic Flame. Leggett or Hollywood in Dynasty? Xavier Leggett.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Neighbors in the flex this week? Love him in the flex this week.
Yeah.
Bad offense, but he should be getting a lot of those targets. Joe Juice. I'm stuck with Kyler Murray. Drafted him not realizing I have Mahomes. What do you mean you didn't realize you have Mahomes?
Did you not draft
one
Mahomes?
Quarterback.
How did he end up on your team?
One quarterback league. What should I do and who should I try and trade for?
Unfortunately, quarterbacks do not have much trade value in a one quarterback league because you only have to start one. So I really don't imagine there's actually that much trade value out there. If you had to sell one of these names, Mahomes is the hot, sexy name that you can probably get value for. And Kyler is a fantastic starter anyway. So if you can sell Patrick Mahomes and get a Alvin Kamara type of player, a James Cook, a Jacobs, if you can get the likes of a Adams, Cup, Neighbors, Moore, Diggs, Metcalf, Rice, I think it's worth it in a one quarterback. But yeah, it's unfortunate because most people at this point probably don't need to trade for a quarterback. There's been no injuries to the position yet. So
no Daniel, no news on Chase. Aaron Lee, 10-team PPR with only 4 benches. What's the question? I'm thinking of trading Dell and Warren for an RB2. Your running backs are Kamara, Aaron Jones, and Warren. If you can sell Warren, I mean, it depends on which running back you can get. Your wide receivers are AJ Brown, Tank Dell, Amari Cooper. I don't think you have the wide receiver
You don't have the depth
depth
to make
to
this
do
move.
that.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I would keep that. Jaden Daniels or Golf this week. We answered this. We said
Golf.
Jared Golf. Do you think Dak will get more than 59 passing yards week
I have
one?
no idea. I honestly have no idea, man. I know it's not a good defense to face against, but I cannot tell you specific. I haven't looked at player prop numbers specifically for quarterbacks. Javante or Ramondre. I'm going to go Ramondre if it's a PPR format. If
Agreed.
it's non-PPR, I'll go Javante. Godwin or Tank Dell. I would go Godwin personally.
Yeah, I would go Tank Dell for me.
Okay. TX says, in a super flex league, what do you guys think of the value of lower tier quarterback is? I'm talking Jones, Carr, Minshew types.
Come on, you have a superstar right there, and Daniel Jones. No, I'm joking. It just depends on if that's probably your QB3. These guys are QB3s, right? You probably got Kyler Murray and a Jared Goff, and then you get Daniel Jones as your QB3 just in case somebody gets injured. You get Derek Carr as your QB3. You know, get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling.
Quite frankly, these are not the names that I really want to go out and trade for in Superflex. Like, I'd rather just start a wide receiver or running back. Not that they won't be good. Here's a list of names I would want to trade for that are lower tiered: Geno Smith, Will Levis, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins. Those names that you presented, not really names that I'm desperately wanting to get on the squad, but yeah.
Harrison headed to MetLife for week one to watch Malik Nabers drop 152 touchdowns. Talk it up.
Let's go. Hey,
Come
guess
on,
who got Malik Nabers in our home league?
That's okay.
This guy right here. All right. So
That's
I'm
okay.
with you, brother. I'm with you.
That means I'm hoping that we win the game. That means Daniel Jones is. Damn.
I hope so too.
Oh,
I mean, like I
better
said,
hope so.
Daniel Jones can be Jameis Winston his 30 and 30 year, and I'd be happy. Any trade suggestions? NMB says I'm weak on quarterback, trying to trade Bijan in a super flex league. Yeah, well, that's difficult because you probably decided to take Bijan over the quarterbacks in round one. That puts you in a tough spot. Well, hold on. You have Bijan and Lamb. How the hell do you have those two guys? No,
you must have traded somebody.
Honestly, you, NMB, think about it. You specifically went alternate strategy here, so you had strong positional players and weak quarterbacks. Don't throw it all away now. Let your strategy play out, right? I mean, you have Goff, you have May, who can start at some point, Fields, who can start at some point. Keep your strong running backs and wide receivers, and those should be the positions that carry you. And then reassess after week 2 or 3 if May isn't the starter and you know, like imagine you traded Bijan away for what, Jordan Love maybe, and then Drake May starts in week 3. You would regret that so hard. So TX.
Yeah, TX, Kyron Swift, Mostert, a 4-star too. Kyron and Mostert. T-Law or Burrow would be Joe Burrow for me. Half PPR, Moss, Chuba, Gus, Singletary. I'm assuming you got to choose 1.5 PPR. I would be going. Ooh.
This would be Gus, Moss, Singletary, Chuba in that order for me.
It'll be Moss, Gus, Singletary, Chuba. Introduce me from the Flock League. Thanks for the fantasy football advice. No worries, Lee. Thank you so much for coming through.
I love it.
Jonah, yeah. Choose 4 to start this week.
Well, you're starting Justin Jefferson. You're starting Marvin Harrison.
You're
starting Rice. I think it's Olave, and then you sit Higgins and Tank.
I think if Jamar Chase doesn't start, you start T. Higgins over Olave. If Jamar Chase does start, I'm going Olave. That's what I would say. Okay. Brian Robinson is currently my flex. Okay.
That's a good flex.
Yeah, I like it. Valentino, Happy PR, Rice, or Devonta Smith. I think we're both going Rice. You let me know.
You know what would be really cool if we had on the stream, like the most commented question. It was somewhere on the screen as a graphic where we already have our answer. It's like the most commented question on this stream is this, and it, like, you know, Like this was the answer. I don't know. That'd be cool if we could do that somehow, because that's been a common one. Rasheed Rice and a bunch of names. But, you know, I get why it's a difficult question for people. Here's the thing. Everyone got Rasheed Rice at a discount in drafts. And now they're like, oh, shit. Like, I want to start him. What do I do, you know? Valentino says, half PPR, pick 2, Ford, Mostert, Monty. I will go Raheem and Monty.
Monty. Yep. Terry.
Yeah, Terry. Scary Terry, right?
Yeah, Scary Terry, yeah. Christian. Go ahead. Who should I start at flex? Reed, Jason, Brian Thomas. This would be Reed for me. Brian Thomas. It is close though. I get it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It is Reed. It is Reed. I'm with you. I'm on board.
12-man league, full PPR. Pick one. Pick one. What? Which one? Do I make any wide receiver trades? So you got CMC, Wright, Evans, Rice, Pickens, Reed, Richardson. I'm trading George Pickens if I can. That's what I'll say.
I don't understand the pick one question.
Yeah, I don't understand the pick one question. I'm assuming he said maybe pick one to trade. I want to pick George Pickens to trade, but you don't really have too much depth to trade either, as well, depending on how big this league is. So maybe try and clarify that.
I don't understand the question, pick one. I don't know what that means. John says, I have Chargers versus Raiders and Bears versus Titans. Which ones do I choose? I think I'm Bears there. Where do you rank?
I'm Bears as well.
Yeah, let me just double check. Yes, I am Bears.
Yeah, they have a great defense. It just depends on, and Will Levis, if he doesn't pick up on the pressures, then Bears should get a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
So I think we answered Israel Lopez in a super chat.
I think next one's Joel. He says, I watched your top running backs for week 1 earlier, and I have 3 of the spot starts for my second RB spot. I don't know if I should start Zach Moss, Singletary, or Tajay. And, you know, we'll definitely answer this, Joel. I just wanted to let you guys know, if you are watching those start-sit videos, just so you guys know, my rankings are on those videos. So if you have a question about specific players, you'll actually know exactly what my rankings are, because it's in the graphics of those videos. Sometimes I don't always mention it. But in this scenario, I think it's a good thing that you asked the question now, because I slightly changed. I moved Zach Moss a little bit up my rankings after him being named the starter. I would go Moss here. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going Zach Moss out of these guys.
We did get a super chat from Zach, so Zach is going to skip the queue with the donation. Thanks for supporting the show. He says, should I start Daniels over Caleb Williams? That's a great question. That's a great question.
That is a good question. I'm gonna go Caleb Williams, excuse me, and I'll tell you why. I think the Titans are gonna struggle defensively. They lost their defensive coordinator. They don't have that many good pieces in the secondary outside of.
I heavily disagree.
I know they traded for what's this guy's name from the Chiefs? So I think that's good. Yeah. For me, I would say the Bucks have a good secondary as well, and the weather is going to play a factor. That's what I would say. I want to use the bathroom.
Quarterbacks and wide receivers last year, so I heavily disagree on this if we're going matchup based.
I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be back.
Yeah, no, I look. It could go either way. It really could go either way. For me, it's going to be Jaden Daniels unless the weather is awful. We've heard that potentially the weather could play a big part. If it's raining heavily, of course, we're going to limit expectations in that Washington-Tampa Bay game. However, I personally, Badaki and I disagree on some things, and that's okay. Hopefully you guys are open to that on this channel. We have different opinions. I'm sure you have different opinions with your friends as well on fantasy football, but I would just disagree. I think the Titans are going to be a much better defense than people realize. They signed L'Jarius Sneed, maybe the #1 cornerback that was available this offseason. Top 5 cornerback in the NFL for sure, coverage-wise. And as far as the Buccaneers go, they were bleeding points to wide receivers and quarterbacks last year. So I'm pretty heavily Jaden Daniels based off matchup, but I could easily see a scenario in which Caleb Williams outscores him. And if weather seriously is going to play a part, then we are going to go ahead and say switch it up. What's up, 369? Damn thing fine. Emmanuel says Chase Brown or Devin Singletary. Well, I'm going to go Chase Brown there. Bengals name Zach Moss. Love it. Flexing Shakir or Jason. Jason for me. I'm going to go Goff over Daniels. If Danny looks bad week 1, should I trade Neighbors and for who? I mean, it's just too much of a hypothetical to give you a good answer right now, man. I mean, So much can change after week 1, but no, I wouldn't panic on any player after week 1. In fact, this could be encouraging to anyone out there. Guess what? Players that are going to be really good this year, some of them aren't going to do well week 1. Do not panic after week 1. It's the worst thing you can do in fantasy football. If packages Dowdle and Amari Cooper, what kind of wide receiver should I be upgrading for? If you were to package Amari Cooper and Rico Dowdle, keeping in mind that I don't think many people are like thrilled about Rico Dowdle. I think they view him as a late round option. That's just like kind of fun. But I think you could potentially look at like a Evans and Ayuk, a Cup, a Nico, Debo Waddle, London range, maybe kind of around there. KJ says Noah Fant, Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz, Jonnu Smith. So based off matchup alone, I got to go Noah Fant here. Broncos were really bad against tight ends last year. But that is digging deep, man. Allen or Worthy? Allen being, who would that be? Keenan Allen, maybe? Is that Keenan Allen? Keenan Allen's a safe play. Worthy's a fun play. Do you like to party? I like to party. I'll go Xavier Worthy. Ragster says full PPR 12-man with pick 1. I got CMC. Let's see and see. Okay, so he got CMC with the first pick. What's his question? Should I trade for a wide receiver? You've got Mike Evans, Rice Pickens. Look, you certainly can, but Hawkinson is not going to be a tradable asset right now, so you'd have to use Ramondre Stevenson. And I don't think you have enough depth based off what you're telling me to package Ramondre and one of those wide receivers. I mean, if Ramondre goes down, who are you going to start at running back? You have no other name right now, so I think you got to play it safe for now. Rashee Rice or Mixon? I'll go.
Rashee Rice.
Yeah, I think we have been saying in PPR Rice, in half PPR Mixon. I'm going Mixon, man. I'm going Mixon regardless. Tajay or Jerry Jeudy or Jameson? Tajay. Would you trade Montgomery for a high upside wide receiver? Other running backs are Kyron and Achane. If that's the only running backs, then no, I don't think you should. Like, if you're telling me your next running back is like Braylon Allen or something, you definitely need to keep David Montgomery. You don't have enough depth to move him right now. But if you can package Montgomery and trade up for wide receiver, I don't mind it. It's just too broad of a question.
I wouldn't force it.
Answer.
Yeah. Bernardo, should I trade Cup and Ferguson for Rice, Stevenson, and Musgrave? Let's see. He's really big down tier at the running back, at the tight end position. But it's a big upgrade at the wide receiver position there from Cup from Rice, and you get a running back. This is tough.
I don't think it's an upgrade at wide receiver. But I do think obviously you get Stevenson. Stevenson is where it makes sense for you. But look, Musgrave is not a startable tight end. Like, he's just way too boom bust. So unless you have a better tight end, I'm just a little more concerned. We did get a super chat.
Static. It's apparently the static in my audio potentially.
Okay. On your audio?
Yeah, maybe you need to click me off or something. Sorry, that's awkward. The way I said that.
This guy needs help. Let's see here. How about now? Does it sound better now? Talk for us, Badaki.
Hello. Can you hear me? Is this better? Yeah, I think that's better. I listened to the stream. It's better.
Okay. All right. Sweet.
Thank you.
We did get a super chat from Treston, so we will answer Treston's question here. Thanks for the donation. You are going to skip the queue with that donation. He says, I have Ravens D versus Chiefs. Who are you dropping out of Jameson Williams and Brian Thomas Jr., if either? And ranked? No, I'm absolutely not dropping any of these names to pick up a defense. The reality is the Ravens are probably not a great play this week, but it is not worth you losing the potential season-long values of Jameson and Brian Thomas Jr. and what their trade value could be if they hit, just to get a different defense on your team. It's just, I don't want you to drop the Ravens D, but I'd rather drop the Ravens D, for example, and I'm not going to do that. I'm probably just going to play the Ravens.
I think, Tristan, the bigger question is, and I kind of had this question earlier. It wasn't from a super chat, but like, there's probably worser players that you have on your team that you can drop.
Well, I doubt it if he asked that.
Sure. I think I'm just saying if there maybe there's other options. Maybe he likes those other players. Like, let's say you have a Darnell Mooney. Let's say you have a Demario Douglas. Like you have even lower tier than some of these wide receivers that you mentioned in Jameson Williams and Brian Thomas. If they're lower tier wide receivers on your team or even running backs, then we can have a new conversation. But with the ones that you mentioned, no, I would agree with Zach.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we are on the same page there. Appreciate the super chat from Treston. Always love helping out. In fact, we did just get another super chat, so we'll get to that straight away from Two Bird Studio. What's up,
baby?
Two Bird
Two Bird
Studio?
Studio's waiting. That's hot. If I was married, I probably needed somebody. Now, if I wasn't married, but now, I mean, I don't need nobody. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway,
Trade Kyler and Javonte to upgrade to James Cook. No, I wouldn't. That doesn't seem like the upgrade. Like, look, I like your headspace. I like that you are wanting to upgrade, and this isn't the upgrade I want to do. Like, I want to package Kyler and Javonte, and I want to get into the range of Travis Etienne, right? Derrick Henry, for example. Or I would prefer to upgrade wide receiver as well. If you're telling me you can package Kyler and, just as an example, you have an Amari Cooper and you get Garrett Wilson. Like, that's the kind of moves I'd like to make. So, but you're a James Cook guy, so you wouldn't do this? I mean, you're a James Cook guy.
trade Kyler and Javonte to upgrade to James Cook. Oh, this is one quarterback. I'm looking at it thinking it's super flex. I was like, why are you trading Kyler Murray for James Cook?
No, one quarterback. I mean, I feel like it's asking too much, but I know you're a James Cook guy. Like, if you're gonna do this deal, get something in return. So you get James Cook and Rico Dowdle, for example. James Cook and Jamison Williams, or like, I think you should add something to your side of the deal. I'm not anti doing this deal. I just don't think you're getting enough value personally.
I would just say like, yeah, I think it's too much personally. I think Kyler and Javonte for James Cook and one quarterback is too much. I think Kyler straight up for James Cook is a better deal in my opinion because it is one quarterback and you have Kyler Murray, but you should be getting something in return. As much as I love James Cook, that's what I would say regarding the trade. I'm assuming Zach said something along those lines. I kind of blanked out. Just agreeing with you, thinking that it was super flex at the time. But yes, hopefully that helps. Two Bird Studios. Thank you so much for the super chat though. And if you guys want to skip the queue, all you have to do is drop a super chat. If not, we're going in order. I think the next one is John. Start Daniels, Herbert, or Purdy this week. For me, this is Brock.
Wait. Where are you at, John? Okay, sorry, I'm here now.
John? Yeah?
Yeah.
Daniels, Herbert, or Purdy. For me, this is Brock Purdy, even though I know it's a tough match.
Oh, okay. This is Daniels for me. I'm pretty confidently Daniels over Purdy this week, unless weather is crazy.
That's fine.
I think you have a lot more confidence in some of these Niners than I do this week. I'm not anti the Niners. I think I'm putting more respect on the Jets defense than you are, personally.
Maybe.
That is a terrible matchup. It was so bad last year, and I think they might have gotten better.
I can understand that. I think the supporting cast is pretty good. I think,
Yeah, of course.
Kyle Shanahan is gonna dial up a good game to get his playmakers the ball. But I can understand it. Jets are gonna be great on defense. Drop Chase Brown for Rico. I want to keep both of them. I don't want to drop Chase Brown for Rico, but if that's the only option, I would rather have Rico over Chase Brown.
Yeah, I think this is one of those areas where we see it differently season long. I'd rather have Chase Brown season long than Dowdle. But man, I'll be honest with you, like, I don't care too much about these names. Just being super transparent. But go with your gut, man. Go with your gut. I don't have a strong opinion. Arusa says y'all skipped my ish.
Well, that should be easy, brother. Come on.
Okay.
I don't think we skipped you, but
yeah,
it's okay.
We haven't skipped a single question here. Maybe I'll look back. Yeah, I don't see a single question that we skipped.
Adam, rice and beans. Come on, talk it up.
Did we answer his question for him?
That's Raheem Mostert.
Okay, it's Raheem Mostert.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's easy. It's pretty easy.
Yes, Adam says Caleb Williams or Kirk at quarterback. I'll throw Caleb out there. in that scenario.
Yeah, I think Caleb is going to be needed more in this week 1 game, personally, over Kirk Cousins. That's why I would put him there.
Neighbors, Pittman, or Amari Cooper? I'm going to go Neighbors.
Agreed.
I swear we already answered this from Ray, or no? Maybe not. Trade Kyron for AJ Brown? Yeah, I would definitely prefer AJ Brown.
Agreed.
Start Keon or Watson in a standard league. Watson for me.
Watson.
I need a wide receiver too bad, so I traded Laporta, Kirk, and Dobbs for Pitts, Ayuk, and Aaron Jones. How'd I do? I don't mind the tight end tier down. I like going from Kirk to Ayuk. And I like going from Dobbs to Aaron Jones. So honestly, I really like that trade for you.
Yeah,
I'm actually a huge fan of that.
As well. Donald, if I'm the same star Malik neighbors, both Malik won't you be my neighbor and Marvin Harrison Jr. No, you start both of them.
Yeah. I mean, where you drafted them in drafts, you draft them as if you were going to start them anyway.
Yeah, no question.
We did get a super chat here. Super chats will skip the queue. Shout out to Matt. Appreciate you, man. Constant supporter of the channel, constantly donating, showing some love. 8 team, 1 quarterback, start 9. Add Eckler, Ford, or Jaden Daniels. He has Kyler.
8 team, 1 quarterback, start 9. Add Eckler, Ford.
Depends on how you want to play this. Ford is a temporary play.
For me,
Jaden Daniels is a long-term, like, could be really exciting type of player. But I really struggle to see where I'm starting Daniels over Kyler, though.
I'm struggling to see who I'm going to start. Any of these guys, excuse me, in an 8-man league. I mean, unless somebody goes down, unless you got Breece Hall and Breece Hall goes down, at least you got Jerome Ford. But you should have a plethora of running backs. I will be going.
He has Jonathan Brooks.
I'll be going Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I think
I'll
Ford
go Jerome Ford based on the recency play, and like he's going to be the guy there, in my opinion.
Ford is a fine add there. I would be more interested in what wide receivers are available on your waivers in an 8-team league, to be honest. Like, if you're telling me Ford is, does that mean that you have a Brian Thomas on your waivers? Does that mean you have a JSN or a Worthy or a McConkey on your waivers? Because that would be more interesting to me. But overall, I'm fine with the idea of adding Ford as well. Appreciate the super chat, man. Ashton says, with reports of P. Ryan supposedly being the third down back, what are your thoughts on Pacheco now? Keep grinding. So, did I skip a question? I think I did.
You skipped a bunch of questions.
I'm so sorry.
Dom says, I have Gibbs as a for sure start, but my second running back I have is Stevenson, Denver, single chain, Jerome Ford. Who should be my second? We have Gibbs. For me, this would be Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Dom says starting Dak over Purdy. Is that a smart choice? That's what I would do.
Yeah, I don't mind it. But I do have Purdy over, technically.
I'll go Moss this week.
Agreed.
Rice or Connor, I'll go Rice.
Rice, yeah.
Appreciate you, JD. Start Debo or Rice this week. Yeah, that's like a back-to-back situation for me. I've got Debo 1 spot higher.
You have Debo. I have Rice. Let's go over Rasheed Rice there.
Okay. So,
then it's Ashton.
Yeah, Ashton's questions here. So P. Ryan is someone that I suggested to stash before the season because he could have that Jerick McKinnon role. I don't know. Like, personally, I do think the P. Ryan signing is significant. I honestly do. Because to me, it says Pacheco will not be a 3 down back. To me, it says P. Ryan will play the 3rd down role. That's where he has been a specialist for the past 3 years, and he's been very good at it. So I'm not drastically moving Pacheco down my rankings at all. In fact, I haven't really moved him down my rankings anyway. But all I'm saying is I think P. Ryan is a seriously intriguing add, considering this team has used a receiving running back before, and it's been very successful in Jerick McKinnon, who was a top 20 running back just 2 years ago. So yeah. By the way, just catching up with Matt's super chat that he dropped, he says that he has Addison and Ladd McConkey on the waiver wire. I'd be picking up Ladd over Jerome Ford personally.
Yeah, agreed. I agree.
Okay, moving on to the next question in order. So T. Higgins if Chase is out, yes. Drake London, Montgomery for Henry McLaurin, who wins.
That's
a great question. That's a very even trade.
It is. I do lean the London Monty side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
actually
think
don't know. I really don't
I
know how
think
to answer that
I
well.
think Drake London and Derrick Henry even each other out, and I think of safe floor. The higher upside is Terry, like with Jaden Daniels now, but the safe floor is David Montgomery. Because if Jaden Daniels is not the guy we project him to be, then Terry is just going to be another. Terry's just going to have another Terry year, which is annoying, and David could just fall into touchdowns. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
So
I don't have a strong opinion on it. Adunze or JSN? I'm going JSN this week.
agreed.
Who in the flex?
What's happening, Blue?
What are you doing here in the flex?
Palmer, Zeke, Pop, Cook, Collins. For me, it's Josh Palmer.
Yeah, I agree. Hey guys, we're gonna keep answering questions. All the way
25?
up until 12,
20?
until 30 past the mark. All right, so another
Okay.
13 minutes we'll answer questions. Then
Come
we
on.
have a team review to do. So for the next 13 minutes, we'll answer questions, and of course, if super chats are there, we'll of course answer all those. But why don't you go ahead? I just have to go to the bathroom real quick.
No worry. I just put a cookie in my mouth. We're doing this for you, and I'm starving. Didn't have breakfast. It's 12:18 over here in Australia. All right, Emmanuel, Rice over Devonta Smith this week. Yes, I'm doing Rice. Who else is next? Thank you, Rebel. Thank you so much for those super chat. Joe said, "Hey guys, good evening. Would you flex Terry over Devin Singletary?" Yes. Terry McLaurin over Devin Singletary. Bam time. With all of the hate Pitts gets, you got me thinking Ferguson is a better option at tight end. Look, I'm not a. It's a make or break year for Kyle Pitts, and if Kyle Pitts is not the guy that we hope and expected him to, especially with the quarterback play and new offensive coordinator, be careful. I am starting Kyle Pitts over Jake Ferguson though. Keep that in mind. When you see me, and when you see mine, Debo, Rice, Mixon, start 2 PPR. This would be Rice and Mixon for me. Dak or Tua for me. This would be Tua. Can I feel confident in starting Neighbors in my flex PPR? I have a Monron. Yes, you should be confident in starting him. I'm nervous about Neighbors and he will get the targets, but I'm hoping he gets the ball. He will get the ball, no doubt about it. Van, Devonta Smith or Rice have PPR. This would be Rice for me, and then Deontay or Worthy. This would be Deontay again. So sorry, Rice and Deontay, excuse me.
Yep.
Rum, it says, should I start Gus Edwards or Chuba Hubbard or Blake Corum? This would be Chuba Hubbard.
This is a trade question.
Oh, should I trade? Sorry, should I trade Gus or Chuba for Blake Corum?
Yeah, if you can trade Chuba for Corum, I want Corum long term over Chuba personally. Thoughts on Javonte Williams this year? Great player, great talent. Second year removed from the ACL tear. He should be an exciting player. Full PPR, Zay Flowers or Tank Dell. I'll go Tank Dell this week.
Agreed.
Bengals or Niners. I'm going to go Bengals. Personally,
Agreed.
pick 3 to start. London, Marvin, Waddle, and Nico. What
London,
the hell?
Marvin. London, Nico, Marvin. That's what my rankings.
You're
That's what
sitting
my rank.
Waddle then.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but like, if you look at if you look at my rankings and you just look at the way we all drafted, you probably got Waddle last out of all these guys.
Yeah,
Or maybe
but they
Nico,
were all
actually.
so close, so matchup definitely matters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to answer that, Haram. I genuinely put all their names into a hat and pick them at random. Like, how are you supposed to sit one of those names? Start Tank Dell or T Higgins. I'm gonna go
T if Chase doesn't play. Yeah.
I'll go T either way. It's okay says went heavy on wide receivers in a 10-team PPR. How bad is it? We already answered this question, no?
I think so.
I swear we already answered that.
Kamara, Connor, Ramondre, Steven, Javonte.
It's not
I don't
bad.
remember.
It's not that bad. Yeah, we already answered that. I remember that question. My wide receivers in my work league are PPO, Depot, Kirk, Terry, Brian, Palmer. Am I cooked? Look, not the best. Not the best at all. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Daniel says, love. All right, what's the question here?
Looks great.
It's just his team. It's just his team. Two Birds Studio says, we already answered that.
We answered that. Thank you so much, Two Birds.
We answered Rag. Come on, y'all. We're answering y'all questions. Stop putting them in there so many times, y'all. Come on. Thoughts on Joe Mixon this year? I was sniped from taking Ken Walker, so I settled with Mixon. I have Joe Mixon ahead of Ken Walker.
Exactly. You're chilling, brother. Come on, talk it up. 305 Raider. Thanks, fellas. Week 1 Ford or Najee. This will be Jerome Ford for me.
This would be
I want to stay away. I want to stay from that. Next is NMB. Would y'all trade Ford, Waddle, Godwin for Devon and Smith? Yes, I would. I want Devon the Chain and Devonta Smith. You let me know what you think. I love Ford. I love Godwin.
It all comes down to how big your starting roster is, to be honest. If you're in a start 7, then I'll take Achane and Smith. If you're in like a start 9 or 10, then I'll take the other side. Jalen Wright or Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle this week. Keon or Watson this week. Watson, we answered that.
Yep.
Joe.
I think we answered Joe's as well, unless it's a new question.
I feel like we did. I feel like you guys are putting so many of the same questions in here, guys. You're making it tough to keep the momentum going.
Traders, I think we said to chill.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you stay put.
This feels like a similar team. I don't know. I'm sorry if we're misunderstanding. Hang on to Marshawn Lloyd. Yep, worth hanging on to. Pick 3 to start. We already answered that. All right, you guys are making me want to end the stream with all the repeats. Honestly, it's like you're going through all the questions and like 70% of them are just people who put their question in twice. You're killing me, dog. You're killing me.
You're cheesing me, dog. GTX is Herbert with a bench spot in a 12-teamer. Or should I just bench a backup quarterback or running back? If it's a 1-quarterback league, I'm looking to get one of these backup running backs because you can just pick up a streamer each and every week. Seahawks or Bears defense, it will be Seahawks.
Yep.
Jeff, 12-man PPR. Who do I start, Worthy or Kirk? This would be Worthy.
Yep.
Adrian, who should I start, Dak or Jaden at quarterback? This would be Dak Prescott for me.
Yep.
And Rice or Cook. This would be Rice.
James Cook? I'm starting James Cook over Rashee Rice, personally.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. He's a great matchup this week. The most fantasy points to the running back position. So I can understand that. I think it is closer than you think, but for me, it's Rice. Terry or David Montgomery at the flex.
Monty.
Yeah, Monty. Odunze, Brian Thomas, Christian Watson, Josh Palmer. Start 2 of them. This is Christian Watson and Brian Thomas for the both of us. Let me know.
Yeah. But I could see it going either way from all those names. Neighbors or Flowers? Neighbors for me.
Neighbors? Yeah. Go
ahead. Dom says, I took Henry at the 203 since I knew Lamar would fall to me at the 403 and got him. Was this a reach for Henry? I don't think it's a reach for him, but
no.
It depends on your league. Some leagues he's going round 3, some round 2. Terry McLaurin for David Montgomery. That's a pretty even deal across the board, to be honest. Matt says, wait, that was different. Gus, Dowdle, Brown, start 1. Gus for me.
Yeah, I think I backed you with Gus there. Yes. Close with Dowdle.
Team looks good, AT. Team looks good, man. We've said this so many times, but like the rate my team comments are just not our most excited ones that we replied to. Mm-hmm. It's J.
What's happening, MP?
Germs says, start 2 full PPR 12-team Ridley, JSN, Addison. I'd be going Ridley and JSN.
Agreed. We answered you, so he did like 5 times.
Is this a good team? Yes, team looks good, guys. I'm sorry. There's just you can only look at so many fantasy teams a day and get excited about it.
Maybe we just need to say do not input your fantasy team unless respectfully, like unless you're gonna donate. Like I think we should just start saying that because I think people are gonna do it. Maybe they won't do it. Maybe it's just week 1.
We never answer those questions well because we're just like we get it's just such a common question. It's just like, okay, it looks good. Smirkio. Says pick 3: Singletary, Ramondre, Chuba, Ridley, Deontay.
Pick 3.
I'm going Ramondre, Ridley, Deontay.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly where I'm going as well.
6-player keeper league trade proposal is Adunze and Brown for Mostert and JSN. I want Mostert and JSN personally.
Agreed.
What is a solid 2 for 1 here to go after? You can do Keon Coleman and Aaron Jones, try and improve at running back potentially. That's the first move I'd try and make. I want both opinions on start 2, Mixon, Rice, Debo. Yeah, this would be holy shit. I don't know, dude. I don't know. How are you supposed to answer that one? Those guys would literally be all in the same exact tier for me.
I think I answered this earlier, Draft Demon. I think I said Rice and Mixon. Or I don't remember what I said actually. There's been so many questions of Rice. I feel like every other question is Rashee Rice.
I know, right? Rice is easily the most asked player.
Like Rice, you know.
To me, it would be Mixon and Debo, but I love Rice. I cannot fathom not starting him, but it would be Mixon and Debo for me.
If I remember correctly, I did say Rice and Mixon, but
yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
What's up, Ty? He says Dell, Ayuk, or Ford for my flex 2. This would be Ayuk. Other starting wide receivers, this would be Ayuk. This would be Ayuk for both of us. Kirk or Deontay, and Cup or Evans. I'm going Cup. I'm going Evans. Unless the weather is a factor, then I'll go Cup.
I'm going Deontay and Cup.
Okay. Jaden Reed or Xavier Worthy week 1. Gotta go Jaden Reed in my opinion.
Agreed.
Gino or Dak. We're going Dak. For my bench, Jason or Godwin.
Yep.
I would go JSN there, but it's close. Joel says, I drafted Kyler over Dak and Jordan Love. Was that a mistake? No, that's exactly what I would have done.
Yep.
What's up, MP?
How you doing, brother? Miss you. Come through.
The advice is to have fun, bro. That's the advice. The advice is to have fun. Kiva says, do y'all think Adunze could be reliable flex towards the second half of the year? Yes. I just need to see it first with him.
Yeah. One PPR 10-man league, flex George Pickens, T. Higgins, or Raheem. For me, this is going to be, I think it's Raheem.
Yeah, I'll go Raheem. As well.
If Jamar Chase doesn't play, I'm going T. Higgins though.
TX, Puka, DK, Collins, Olave, Kelsey, Kincaid, McBride. Start 2 wide receivers. Okay, I think he wants to set his lineup here. So you're clearly starting Puka.
If Puka and Collins are the 2 wide receivers.
You're starting Collins. You're starting probably Kelsey. How are you supposed to make these decisions each week, TX?
Kelsey,
how are you supposed to make these decisions? How do you have all 3 of those names? Kelsey, Kincaid, and McBride.
I think if it's start all 3 and then start Puka and Collins. That's what you should do. It sounds crazy.
I think it's a start 7 though.
But sign in premium. If it's a half point premium.
Oh my gosh. How in the world?
That no one wants to trade you. Why'd you take 3 tight ends? What do you mean no one wants to trade you, brother?
Is this a redraft league or a dynasty?
He said for value.
You're crazy.
I'll be honest. I feel like you have to go the 3 tight ends. So you go Kelsey the tight end, and then Kincaid, McBride, and then I'm starting Nico and Puka.
So, full transparency, this is a question where we could easily get every single one of the answers wrong. Why? Because these are all like top 12 options at their position. For the tight ends, top 5 options at the position. Go with your gut. I have no good advice here. I guess if you want an answer, Puka, Collins, Kelsey, and then I'll flex the tight ends.
I would say you can flex. I would say this to make it even easier for me, because as much as I love Kincaid, I feel like it's not gonna instantly click. So for me, it would be Kelsey, McBride, Puka, Collins, and then you can do DK or Olave over Kincaid. Because I feel like you've seen the history with McBride, you've seen the history with Kelsey, Kincaid. You've seen it in a really small dose, but I really like him this year. That's all I'm saying. Anyways,
sorry,
it's 12:31.
It is past the hour. So we said, or past the 30-minute mark. We said 30 minutes past the hour, we would stop answering questions. We have probably answered over 500 questions today. We've been live for 2.5 hours. We appreciate y'all big time, but we are going to have to end the stream on a team review. Okay. If you want your team reviewed, maybe this is what we'll say from now on. People who want their team reviewed and they're like, hey, rate my team. We'll say, hey, we're only rating teams through the Flock Fantasy website, which is what we're about to do right here, right now. We are about to rate this person's team. Big shout out to Nico for signing up yesterday to get his team reviewed. So let's go ahead and have a look at that.
Don't be getting mad that we didn't answer your questions either. Just saying.
Y'all are trash.
Don't be getting mad.
Oh, Michael. Oh, Michael.
Anyways, team review here.
It's just
Appreciate
insane.
you.
Like, just I love random people online. All right, let's go to the team review.
My review here. Who was it? Nico?
Yes, Nico.
This is a Dynasty team review?
Nope. All right, I'll take over. Nico, thank you for submitting your team here, brother. Appreciate you. We are going to go ahead and review it. I will send the link to the chat so you know where we are.
Well, it was just in progress. Okay, sorry.
Let's see here. Reviewing team now. Go ahead then.
Yeah, it says, hi there. Just wanted to submit my questions for review. I like to identify my strengths and weaknesses and see if I need to pick up anyone else or pick anyone up before the season starts, or as soon as possible. Thanks, guys. Okay, no worries, man. Thank you so much for the support. We'll have a look at your team here. His team name is He Who Should Not Be Named. He who should not be named. Classic.
Well, first off, it looks like everybody drafted pretty well because across the board, everyone is pretty even. There's no like true taco in this league, so that's good to know. According to expert consensus rankings, you are ranked third in your league, which is great.
And it's a half PPR start 7 non-tight end. Half PPR start 7 1 quarterback non-tight end premium. So looking at your team here,
I was going to say quickly, according to the community rankings, you are ranked, is that 7th? Yeah, 7th. So the experts like your team better than the community does. Whatever that's worth it to you. All right. But go ahead. Let's look at his team.
Yeah, we'll have a look here. Kyler Murray at the quarterback position is great. And in one quarterback, you get Isaiah Pacheco, Raheem the Dream, Zach Moss, Blake Corum, Gus Edwards. I think your running backs are fine.
Yeah.
I think this is good depth here. You got some good opportunities, some high upside guys, especially with Blake Corum there and Raheem Mostert, who we both like. At the wide receiver position, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Shakira, Xavier Leggett, with the tight ends as Dalton Kincaid.
I think you absolutely killed it. I mean, look, in a start 7.
Yeah, it was just 1, 2, 3, 4,
I think
5,
I want to be super strong at quarterback and
6,
tight end,
7.
and I think you did a great job in accomplishing that. You still have a very solid wide receiver room. Like, if you told me you had Kyler Murray and Dalton Kincaid, and you still ended up with a wide receiver room that consisted of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, and Brandon Ayuk, I would be asking you how. How did you get that done? So really, really well done. And Badaki's right. We like Raheem Mostert. He's an ideal RB3, but you had to sacrifice somewhere. So to have him as your RB2, that's totally fine. And you have some really great upside players like Moss, Corum, and Edwards deeper on your team as well. So Zach Moss could be the RB1 there. If Kyren Williams goes down, you probably win your league if Kyren Williams goes down. That's what's awesome about this team. Blake Corum becomes a must-start every week. And then you have 3 wide receivers that you are obsessed with London, Ayuk, and St. Brown.
Yeah, I completely agree there. So you're chilling. So your starting lineup here is Kyler Murray, Isaiah Pacheco, Raheem, with Amon-Ra, your wide receiver two, Drake London. Sorry, Amon-Ra wide receiver one, Drake London wide receiver two, Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position, then Brandon Ayuk as your flex. So I
Yeah.
think this is great. I would say like if one of these wide receivers, one or two of these wide receivers go down, you might struggle. Um, I do like Shakira, but Xavier Leggett, maybe he doesn't take off to the second half of the season, or maybe not at all this year. But I think if I'm nitpicking looking at this team, that's probably something that I'm looking at. Like, I think since I'm so comfortable with the running back position, like, can I trade away, a Jerome Ford? I'm not saying you can get this done, but can I trade away Jerome Ford? Sorry, not Jerome Ford, Gus Edwards, and get I don't know, Jacoby Myers, a Lab McConkey, I'm just saying like maybe you can get one of these lower tier names, but it's not something that I'm willing to do. Like Jalen Polk, right? Jalen Polk could be interesting.
I don't like any of those ideas outside of McConkey personally.
Sure. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing names out there. I don't have like my
Well,
rankings in front of me.
let's throw good
But
names out there. I mean, like right now, we're not gonna come on. We're not gonna trade Gus Edwards
no,
for Jalen Polk right now.
no, I'm not. No, we're not. But I'm
So
just
let's
giving
give
him
him
the. I'm
actionable
giving him the
advice.
options. I'm giving him the opportunity. Not the opportunity. The thought process. Like if you wanted to get more depth, maybe wait, that's what you can do. So yes, let me open up my rankings.
Let's
here and
give
see who you
actionable
can go out
advice
and get.
here, because it's so. Brian Thomas, for example, Deontay Johnson, for example, Jordan Addison, Christian Watson, Keon Coleman. But anything outside of that, I don't think you should trade Gus Edwards away at this point.
Yeah, I like those things that you said there. I'm not necessarily sure if you can get those done, but that's a starting point and see what can happen there.
Yeah.
With the Brian Thomas, like you said, the Keon Coleman's, the Lat McConkeys, and then go from there. But other than that, I think this is a phenomenal team. Once again, if I had a nitpick, those are some names that I'm maybe looking at there. I mean, Roma Dunze, if you can. Chris Godwin, I think is somebody you could potentially get. JSN. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about that in the long term. If one of these guys goes down, because if Mara
Yeah.
goes down,
Well,
you're like, damn.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that was
Yeah,
probably his first overall pick, so it definitely would hurt. But
I know.
look,
Yeah.
I would say this. It's a start 7 in a 5 bench league. So there's probably a lot of exciting names on the waiver wire. So why don't we just also give him an idea like Xavier Leggett, or like, would you rather have Josh Palmer if he's
Yeah.
out there? Just like
Yeah.
as an idea, Josh Palmer, I'd rather have.
I think of Brandon Cooks. I think of DeAndre Hopkins. I think of, I
D
mean,
Hop, I
shit,
would agree with.
even Hollywood Brown, I
Yeah.
would maybe be interested in picking up. You can go deeper, is what she said, maybe Dontavion Wicks,
Well,
if you like
even if
Dontavion
Polk
Wicks.
is available, would you take Polk over
Yeah, yeah,
Leggett at the
Xavier
moment?
Leggett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Once again, just actionable things that you can just have a little bit of security if something like that, if one of those worst case scenarios does happen.
So Josh Palmer is currently on to Infinity and Bijan's team, and he's very heavy at wide receiver. At running back, let's see who has the most wide receiver depth. I mean, for the most part, this is a very shallow league. But yeah, like Lad McConkey for this team who only has 3 running backs. Can you get Lad for Gus Edwards? I think that's a move that you could definitely look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think you should be really, really proud of
I think this is a great
of
team.
this team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were
We're gonna be
to give this
competing
team a letter grade from A to F, what would you grade it?
I would say I would give it an A minus.
I agree. A minus is like the perfect range here. If you had a better RB2, I think you'd be an A flat. But
Yeah.
your starting lineup is probably the best of anyone in this league. Kyler, Pacheco, Mostert, Amon-Ra, London, Ayuk, Kincaid. If no one gets injured, you're definitely making the playoffs. And then also the good thing about a small league is the waiver wire should be very active. So if injuries happen, players, you can't stash as many players on a smaller roster like this. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should be really proud of this team. Is there any player you want to sell? Just quickly, we'll move on. But is there any player you want to sell before the season? There's not a name I can point to that I want to sell before the year. I want to have a Monroy Ayuk in London for sure.
Well, the only player that I'm kind of thinking about now that you were talking about is Isaiah Pacheco, because Samaje P. Ryan coming in taking this third down role. Does that take away opportunities from Isaiah Pacheco? And this is just based off of what you just told me. I know you're a Chiefs fan, so I value that.
But I am not panicking on him personally.
Sure, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not saying that I am panicking, but if that is going to be something, like if your projection is right, and Samaje Perine takes the third round opportunities, Isaiah Pacheco doesn't get too many opportunities in the air anyway, does Samaje Perine start eating into even more opportunities maybe in the second down role? Can you then pivot to a Josh Jacobs? Can you then pivot to a Devon, which I doubt? Can you pivot to a Rashad White? Can you pivot to one of those other running backs in the second round that you probably got Pacheco in?
Here's an idea. If you can pivot, if you can tear down to Alvin, then I think that's perfect.
Is P. Ryan even available? Maybe you should just pick him up.
Not in this shallow of a league, I wouldn't, but I definitely hear, like, to me, if we're gonna be concerned about Pacheco, then let's tear down to a name that was going way further down drafts that we think is just as valuable, like Alvin Kamara. Like, for example, can I get Alvin Kamara and let's say Alvin and CeeDee Lamb, and I give you Mostert, Amon-Ra. And then we also add on, like, man, there's not really a lot of wiggle room here, is there? How about this? Alvin and Stevenson for Pacheco and Moss. Try that. Alvin and Stevenson for Pacheco and Moss. I think that's the first thing that you should try. Just see if you can get some wiggle room in there. If not, that is totally okay, but at least you tried it. I also would like to pivot to a Derrick Henry if I can do that straight up.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is nice.
So anyway, those are some options for you, but like we said, I would give this an A- grade just like Badaki would. Really, really well done. We'll go ahead and set your starting lineup for you heading into week 1. Kyler, Pacheco, Mostert, Amon-Ra, London, Ayuk, and Kincaid.
Yep, exactly.
All right, we appreciate you big time, my friend. He who shall not be named. You can bookmark this stream. It won't be taken down, but we're going to go ahead and mark that as complete. If you guys want your team reviewed by us in depth, this is the way to get it done by submitting a team review through the Flock Fantasy website. You can either purchase a team review straight up, which is the link I just pasted in the chat, or you can become a yearly Mother Flocker member, okay? So if y'all want to become a yearly Mother Flocker member, that is the code there. Why would you become a yearly Flocker member? Well, if you want all of the premium tools on the website, the weekly rankings for Dynasty, for Redraft, the trade calculator, the My Teams feature, the articles, the databases, the draft guides, and more. But that is probably going to be it for today. We appreciate y'all for hanging out with us, and we'll see you very soon. All love.
Love.